And now I'll actually unclick the audio so you can hear, because all those other people aren't that important. So here we are. It's time for the SpaceBro Show. Let's get this thing started with all these crazy guys.
Hey, hey.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Oh my goodness.
On audio here.
I know.
There you go. It's better.
I bet. Yeah, I had it unmuted. I had to.
I got my camera activated like right before you switched over to me. I was like, wait,
dude, I was so milking it. I was like the whole time, like, here's 2 more minutes. Here's 3 more minutes. Here's 3, and I was typing in chat. Well, we're just waiting on the few to see.
I was like,
us.
what are we waiting for? And I was like, oh, I didn't turn my camera on.
Yeah, I was like,
for you, Greta.
I know. I was like, am I gonna have to buff out the intro and like loop this longer? I'm like, I don't know if I can loop this even longer. We've already stalled.
Hey, look at that! It seems that
So-
I might have loaned part of my beard to Matachi, and I got the rest.
I know. It's like I just had the middle part. I wonder if we could patch that together somehow. Somebody, Jay Lee, do your Photoshop. Get it working. Just cut out this part. I'll hold really still.
Yeah, that was pretty
And
funny.
then, you know, you got the whole thing. Anyway, absolutely. Well, welcome, guys. Man, we haven't had this group together in a while.
I don't
No,
think I've ever
or
been
ever.
on.
I think the fuse been on like every episode for the last 5 weeks, and then everybody else is like, you know,
Yes. Sorry.
it's okay.
I was having a really good time though.
Yeah, absolutely, right? It's like you were on your grand Euro tour and all that stuff. Why don't you give us a little sneak peek? I know you're going to talk about it more tomorrow, but just tell us, you know, how was your trip? How was everything? Give us a little synopsis.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, this was the second time I've done like a family European vacation. So basically, we picked like we usually go for about 2.5 to 3 weeks. We picked 4 different places to go this time. So we're going to Munich because I used to live in Bavaria, so that was kind of going back home-ish for a little bit there, and then we decided to do like a little bit of an Italy tour. And my wife did not want to go as far south as Rome, so we went to Venice and then Florence, and then over in the Cinque Terre, little town called Vernazza that's right on the Mediterranean there. And so we did that, and then went back to Munich and hung out in Bavaria for almost a week as well. So it was really chill. You know, like I have kids ranging from like 11-ish up to 18. And so, and it's their vacation too, right? Their summer. So, no big stressful schedules, no museums for 4 hours a day, none of that kind of stuff. So just really chill, just kind of taking in the, you know, the surroundings and the culture there. And so it was really, really chill. So I'm going to try and tomorrow on stream, I'm going to share some pictures and stuff and kind of go through what we did.
Absolutely. Nobody say Jay Lee's name. He's driving. Do not type anymore, Jay Lee.
I was just saying, be safe, Jay Lee.
I know. That's fine. But let's make sure because he's driving. We want him to be safe. We need those talented hands. We need that disco character completed. So
Is
don't
he driving in LA?
Yes.
Because I'm pretty sure that driving in LA is like. Right?
Well, at this time, I think he'll be okay. Yeah.
LA is pretty. I lived in LA for 3 years. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say this: when we were down at Long Beach, I was very happy to take an Uber everywhere.
I said it, and then traffic stopped, and that's why he's mad.
Yeah. Dang it.
As long as you don't have to cross the 405 or anything, you're probably fine.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's awesome, Scorpion. I can't wait to, hopefully I'll be around to see more about it. If not, I'll have to watch the VOD because I know I have some family stuff I got to do in the morning, but definitely it'll be a cool show to kind of see what all,
should be good.
Yeah, definitely. And then we're going to go a cross section and we're going to talk to Uber Nerd because we haven't talked to him in a little while. We can do it that way. So Uber, how have you been? What have you been up to?
Well, let's see here. I have gone postal.
Yes, you have gone postal, actually.
And by that, I mean I now work for the post office, delivering the mail and packages and stuff like that. So, yeah, I don't remember what movie it was from, but you guys remember that there was a movie of some old guy in a truck driving down a country dirt road, cackling with laughter and never stopping, throwing the mail. Which movie was that? He was the mailman, and he was always throwing the mail. I think it was like a Chevy Chase movie or something like that, where he was out the money. No, was it or Tom Hanks or something like that? Maybe it was like Money Pit. No, it was not Money Pit. It was where he was a writer out there. He was trying to gain his. Anyways, I feel like I'm that postman because I have to drive so damn fast.
That wasn't Sleepless in Seattle or something, was it?
No. This one was more like he was a writer. He goes out. Was it Funny Farm? Yes, it was Funny Farm. Thank
Funny
you, Miles.
Farm.
That was it.
Somebody
That was
knew.
it. So I am that postal delivery person, except in an official truck.
Ah, well, there you go. Right
But,
on.
You know, and of course it's you know, it is dead stop, right to the speed limit, dead stop, right to the speed limit, dead stop, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
the brakes have got to be good.
There you go.
Other than that, my daughter has gone to her mother's for the summer,
Oh.
so she won't be back until the second week of August.
Okay.
So when I say she's gone to her mom's for the summer, she comes back with about 2 weeks to spare before actual school starts, because the school starts the last week of August. So
Yeah.
she's got to have a little bit of time to wind down, see her friends, get into sports, because they always start sports way before school starts. So.
Yeah. Right on.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So
full docket on both accounts there. Both of you guys have been busy.
And my front page has been delayed because they lost their front page person, the coordinator, not the front page person, but the main scheduling person.
Well, tell them to find them.
Got promoted. It's like, well, why would you promote somebody without having somebody to replace that person? They're interviewing.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Click buttons.
But I
type
will
name
be.
in.
I will be on the front page. I will at least get a month's worth of page. So
Yep.
there you go.
That's good.
well, 2 hours per week. For
Yeah.
a month.
Yeah, that's generally what the cycle is. They'll give you 4 weeks, 2 hours per week, and
Are you going to be playing Star Citizen?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I'd love
of
it.
course.
That'd be the moment when he
okay,
changes games.
Now, some of it, but it depends. If they give me, I may go with a little bit of No Man's Sky, because come the 24th, they're going to have multiplayer, and if it's real multiplayer,
It's
I might
good.
do a little- I might split up with that. If they
Yeah.
actually have our characters in there together, then we'll see. We'll see. I don't know what's coming, but a lot of my viewers want to see or want to play No Man's Sky with me in a more cooperative way. So
Yeah, I can't do games that aren't multiplayer, so like
I
the
know,
idea
right?
of
well, I play some online just because it's fun, and every time they have an update, I go and I'll play a little bit.
I'd say every once in a while I'll play a game the community's kind of interested in, or I'm interested in as a one-off, even if it's single player. But it's got to be something I can kind of integrate with chat about, or have them run bets, or do something. It's got to be something that's interactive to some
I've
degree.
tried a lot of other games, and I'm always right back to Star Citizen because I just have, in spite of what people say, oh, this is a lull in the the production of whatever. It's got we've played it for 2 weeks and now we're bored, and some people say that, but I don't get bored. I haven't been bored yet.
I can get that, though, from some people's perspective. If you're playing by yourself, I could see where some people might get bored. As content creators, we have the blessing of always having people to talk and play with and all that stuff. But I totally understand. I mean, I played it a lot even when I wasn't streaming during times and all that stuff. But I totally understand getting bored with it if you're by yourself. The best advice I can get is make some friends, join a group, get in our streams, and come play with us. I mean,
exactly. It's fun.
There.
It's fun, but it's fun from a certain mindset. I can see, like, if you're a certain type of gamer that is story driven, or like really needs a certain type of like progression. Yeah. The game's not there for you yet. But if you're the kind of person who just enjoys goofing off friends in the verse, it's great.
Yeah.
It's right now. It's about between 95 and 98% sandbox, meaning there's no guidance, no hand holding at all. They've given you a whole bunch of tools, but no guidance. There's no theme park. Yeah. And so a lot of gamers out there love theme parks. So that's what I tell people.
Yeah, they do.
It's not, if you like the theme park kind of guided, do this quest, which leads you to that quest, which leads you to then this is not the game for you.
No. Come next build, it'll a lot of
it'll be a lot further along.
It'll be a lot further along, and also I think if FOIP makes it in the next build, I think our peers will go crazy because you can drop in the sandbox and they can do all sorts of stuff and just have fun, just doing all the facial expressions and everything in each other. I think they're gonna have fun. It's gonna be pretty interesting. But then we go over to the few who's been strumming most of the night there and brought many of you fine lads and lasses into the chat anyway. What's been going on, man?
Yeah, a lot of things, I guess. But
yeah.
I mean, I kind of took a little bit of time off. Like when I say a little bit of time, I mean like 4 days. Like, you know, in the Twitch world, that's a long time, I guess.
It is. But, he was on hiatus for that whole weekend. Is like
yeah, 4 days.
Yeah. But
he was on sabbatical.
Yes.
Sabbatical. I know, right?
For the internet, that's a sabbatical.
But I've been all over the place. Dealing with different things, mostly relating to my IRL world life, you know, all that jazz. But yeah, it's things are coming, things are changing, things are happening. I'm probably gonna move very soon to a new location, a new city, new opportunities. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be great. But it also means coming up towards the end of the month, I may not be streaming as much, or Star Citizen specifically, because I have the capability of doing it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my schedule may be modified temporarily and technically permanently a little bit, in the sense that I may start shifting to 1 or 2 hours later in the night because I am changing time zones. So
yeah.
But overall, it's exciting. This is the sorry, people in chat, if you are unaware, I don't want to go too far into it, but like I've had the same job for like the last 6 years, which doesn't sound like a long time, but for me and my generation especially, but for me, it's 6 years is the longest I've ever held any job, by a factor of like 2. I think like the next longest I've held a job is like 3 years. Yeah. I jump jobs quite often, and so moving to a new job is actually, for the first time in my life, kind of nerve-wracking a little bit, because you're like, whoa, like I've been in this job for so long. How am I going to survive? Company, etc. So
it's exciting and makes you nervous all at the same time, right? So
yeah, exactly. So we'll see, but it's gonna, you know, I'm probably gonna be in Austin, so that's kind of cool.
Super cool.
You know, CitizenCon, I don't know how to travel there anymore. I'll just be there. So we'll see. But like I said, there's a small chance I may change my mind, but I'm like there. So that's what's happening for me. I'll be streaming tomorrow as well, but I know we're gonna do that later. So, but it was a good week.
Yeah, but you can't change your mind now, because now we're PAX South. I'm just gonna come stay at your place down there.
I know, you're gonna be like, I need a place to stay.
Luke, I need somewhere to stay, man. What's up, bro?
Yeah, well, I mean, for the price that you're paying for your current place, you'll have a 6-bedroom mansion.
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. So I was looking. I'm actually gonna. I think I put in a bid on a lease for an apartment there, and just to give you a sense, the apartment is about 3.5 times the square footage of my current apartment in Manhattan.
Yeah.
And it's not that big. Well, I mean, it's a 1-bedroom, but it's like 3.5 times the size. It's got like washer and dryer unit. It's got a kitchen with an island countertop.
Yeah.
It's got like a study, like a room for a study there, a walk-in closet, all this stuff, crazy, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like half the price, or like just about half the price of what I pay for my. I have a closet in Manhattan. So
yeah, you live in like the most expensive place in this side of the world to live in. You know, it's like
you even have a stream room.
Yeah, I know. I will. I'll have it.
Yeah.
Like right now, you guys don't know this, but some of you do. But
we get a sense.
My stream desk is like, my bed is on the other side of my desk.
Yeah, you're like it's like right there.
Yeah, exactly. And so like if I go to like, you know, I move to Austin or something, I'll literally have a space that's like just for streaming, which is like the weirdest idea in the world. To like, oh wow, you dedicate.
You have a whole room. Yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really
that's
awesome.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm excited for you, man. I think that's going to be it's going to be a very good change up for you, because I know you've been looking to kind of change it up a little bit, you know. Maybe, so that's good.
I've been struggling. I have, and I mean, to be honest, I'm not very open about that kind of stuff. I mean, we all struggle with different emotional ups and downs and stuff like that, and some people are more open about it than others, and I tend to be fairly closed about it, and I don't show it very often. I'm pretty happy-go-lucky on all my streams, but I've been struggling a lot for the last 4 months, and I really think getting out of New York is going to help that. I hope it does. If it doesn't, then I'll have to figure something else out. But
well, once you get out to a place where you can take an hour-and-a-half drive and you're out in the middle of the, you know, the wide skies of Texas, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, you have to learn that song now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Deep in the heart of Texas.
That's the one.
Buy lots of guns. Drive a pickup truck.
I think it's the law that you have to carry. So
pretty much,
Yep. 2-gun minimum. Over here, 2 gun
There you
minimum,
go.
like everywhere you go. But no, that's going to be good. And the cool thing I think too is, especially if you finalize and make that move too, you'll be in the same TZ as me, so
it's true.
That's going to be good. It's going to be good for a lot of things, and yeah. Because to be quite honest, I have zero desire. I've been to around New York one time when my cousin lived there. I have zero desire to go back to New York. If you're not a New Yorker, New York is for New Yorkers. Right, it really is, because you have to be in that whole mindset and all that stuff. And I don't mind urban areas, but I like being able to walk out and have trees and stuff and space.
Trees are
I
nice.
just, you know, it's one that's not synthetically planted right there in the middle to like say, hey, we have a tree. Look at it.
Go for it.
I was gonna say I could take a 15-minute walk and I can be on the beach at the ocean.
Yeah,
you're really fortunate there, but
that's awesome. I mean, I used to live on the beach in LA, which isn't really the same, but I like the idea of like being able to take like a 20-minute drive and literally being away from people. I can't do that right now. It takes me probably 2 hours at the minimum if I want to be like remotely like away from anybody in New York, so that's difficult.
That's a big quality of life change, man.
I think you'll enjoy it. Plus, I think you'll be by a whole different section of the community. That'd be really cool too. So.
Oh yeah, I'll be part of. Yeah, that's a perk. Like, I mean, Star Citizen, like CIG being there a little bit. Zylo came into my channel earlier today, which is cool. And he offered to grab a beer with me, so that'd be cool. I'll go talk to people, hang out with Paul from
Astropub.
So, there's a lot of really cool people there. Plus, I think, and I might be wrong about this, the first Bar Citizen ever held was in Austin, I believe.
So was the first Citizen Con ever.
Okay, there we go. See?
Yeah, it's where they started at was Austin.
Yeah.
That was the home of the company. So it's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
That's true.
Too bad it's all scam anyway. Speaking of scams, speaking of it, we have some pretty. It was a little bit light on some of the stuff, but there's some good things happening. For those people that didn't already hear from the massive amounts of tweets and everything else, they changed up the website a little bit to help announce right there that CitizenCon tickets are back on sale.
Yeah, look at that.
I still like it. I like the yellow button.
I do. I like the yellow button. It's got its own tab up top of the page, so you can find it anywhere you want. And they got a countdown clock now. So countdown clock, 88 days.
Yeah.
Till CitizenCon.
It's weird that they're only holding it until like the end of the month, and they're pulling it down again.
Yeah, well, that's because they're probably going to be sold out of the tickets, and I mean, they're probably still going to have a location on there. It might not be.
I don't know. I mean, I'd hope I hope they sell out, just because I want to see that many cool citizens out there. I really do. I want to see that many people out there. But additionally, I hope they don't pull it down if they don't sell out, because there are a lot of people, just from experiencing with the late night guys, with Burke and Cream and all those guys. There's a lot of people that are just now discovering the game still every day, both from our chats, from other channels, from everywhere else, with the 3.2 hype, with what we've all been doing with the big group plays and stuff like that. There's a lot of people like, hey, I never even saw this before. What's up? And I found people that are even in Texas that are like, hey, I'm going to come to this thing. They just found out about the game. They're like, hey, I'm nearby. Why not come check it out? And all this stuff, at the event.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of missed opportunity. I don't feel like you should treat this event like a spaceship.
Yeah.
You can't make it artificially scarce. I just don't. It doesn't make sense for a ticketed event. So I hope they don't do that. I hope they just sell out, because I'm really going to be a little disappointed if they pull it down and they still have tickets.
Yeah.
I mean, just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, unless they like have some other idea or option. I mean, I'm sure they have ideas already. I mean, they have a pretty top-notch marketing team, so I'm sure that they've got like plan A, plan B, plan C already figured out. But one thing I thought was interesting is, wasn't the largest one they've ever had about 1/4 the size, right? Like
about 1,000 people is the
Tops?
top end. Tops. I think last year was 600. Yeah. I think the one in LA they had close to 1,000. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, because some of you guys went to it. I didn't. But I think there was close to 1,000 people at the LA one. So
but like my question is like, because half the things that people do when we're there is like Bar Citizen and Citizen, all that stuff. Like, I'm curious. Like, we have so many people going to CitizenCon, and that means the number of people statistically wanting to go to Bar Citizen will increase. Like, are we gonna have to have like 5 Bar Citizens? Like,
I think it's going to have to be a pub crawl. I don't see how else they're going to do it, but other do like an ad hoc pub crawl, because you have down there in Austin for a while. I've been informed, because obviously you guys that are already down that area, you know better than I do. But from what Tyler and everybody else has told me and stuff, it's like 6th Street is just a happening place, especially during ACL.
I suppose they close off the street, right?
They close off the whole street and stuff during these festivals and stuff. So I would just say, hey, just have a roaming pub crawl. Just tweet out, hey, we're going to be starting here, and you'll probably see people pop in.
I mean,
the whole time. I don't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like if you have that many people, and assuming like not all of them, but a lot of them will probably go to that, you know, event or whatever. And I feel like there's enough people, you probably take over most of 6th Street.
Yeah, and like Herman's saying there, he's like, it's pretty much like open container down that block. So you can actually, so you can like, because since they block it off, it's kind of like what they have in Narlands, where you can just kind of,
plus it's Texas. So I did live in Texas for a while, lived in San Antonio for about 3 years. And my boss at the time, every night when he went home from work, he would stop by the drive-through
liquor
store, pick up his tall cans of beer, and he would drink those on his way home. So that's Texas, man. It's like, the alcohol thing and the gun thing is just like, woo. Still, I liked it there, but it is different.
Yep. Sounds like my kind of place, as long as my kids aren't with me. Because when I was younger, we used to go down to the Ozarks here in Missouri all the time. We'd take all our guns and everything else. We'd have fun. We'd have big bonfires and shoot up a bunch of stuff and just have a blast and be so drunk sometimes you wouldn't remember the next day. But don't recommend any of that to you guys out there. It's unsafe. Don't ever do it. But
but it was fun.
Definitely. But it's fun as long as you do it responsibly.
It was fun because we survived.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can talk about it.
Yep. And we're gonna have a good time.
Yep, it would be great. But this is awesome. I look forward to.
I like the picture.
Yeah, I look forward to having. They're going to do a Bar Citizen the night before. They always do. They do one before the event, one after the event. So we'll have activities to do both Tuesday and Thursday, even if it's kind of like an ad hoc, whatever. I'm seriously thinking about staying the whole weekend. I mean, I think it's going to be worth it, because I was just hanging out with everybody, doing the thing, and trying some of the food places down there, just unleashing my inner foodie a little bit. So I think that'll be fun. But just being able to hang out with everybody. I don't get a lot of opportunities to hang out with Star Citizens here in Kansas City, because I think there's 4 of us, and that's it.
Really?
Yeah, there's not many. Most of them are over STL. And everybody's like, hey, why don't you come over to St. Louis? I'm like, yeah, I'll make that 5-hour drive one way. I'm not going to do that. So,
hey, like I live in New York right now, and when we have Bar Citizens, they're like 5 people show up. It's like the largest metropolitan area in the United States of America. I think actually North America in general makes sense. Well, maybe Mexico City's
think there's a lot more up there, but I think they just nobody wants to commute to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just one of those things. So
well, there's a crap ton of Star Citizens in Seattle, but nobody wants to commute to Freddie Harbor. And I'm not going to Seattle, so
yeah. I think as the game gets closer, and these Bar Citizens and stuff, and the community organization things that we get set up, just as Star Citizens general, as we get more involved, other than, hey, let's just have a beer and talk about the game, because people are like, hey, I can do that on Skype. We can just get on together in Discord or whatever and just have a beer and talk about the game. I think making them actual events and stuff as we gather more people and stuff will become more prevalent. And let's be honest, there's so many Bar Citizens anymore. I mean, some people have them almost every other weekend, it seems like, right? So it's just like, hey, it's a Bar Citizen. So the next one's like, if they have more, if we got the community more rallied on some official ones here and there, I think some you'll see pretty big. Like when you go over to other countries, they'll have some huge ones, because it's like their first one they've ever done. And like 100 people look like they show up and all this stuff. I think it's a little different.
It's a lot of work. Like, so I'm pretty close to the New York Bar Citizen community. And I know the guys who organize it. It's like, if you want to do something beyond like 10 to 20 people, like it requires reserving locations, paying, like promising to pay a certain amount money per head, like actually putting, like economically, you have to put yourself on the line for something, right? And who's going to do that? A lot of people don't have the time or budget to do that. So that like sometimes it requires like getting money in advance from people. So big bar citizens, like that's why I think in New York it's so small, because it's so difficult. It takes a lot of time and risk to organize something large.
Absolutely.
I think the people that already do that kind of stuff for a living are the ones that have in the past arranged those sizable
I think so too.
bar citizens.
Or they know a venue, or they're like if there was more people in Kansas City.
People
like I know a lot of venues around Kansas City here that has like a couple hundred people pretty easily right around my area that would be very, very cheap. There's just nobody here to go to those. So it's just kind of like, you know, you could rent out a whole bottom floor of the bar over here that's just about 4 blocks away from me for $200. They'll rent it out for a whole night. I mean, you know, but it's Kansas City, so its cost of living is a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper here. They're not using it.
Yeah. How much would that cost in New York? Let me think about that.
Probably reserve, maybe a couple $1,000 at least just to hold it.
If you want to reserve a bar, more than that probably. Yeah, but it depends.
Yeah, it depends on the location probably. And
usually all you have to do is promise a certain amount of money per head. So like you say, oh, we're going to take this entire floor. There's going to be like 50 people. We're gonna spend like, you know, like $50 per person. Like that's kind of
So. That's usually what they'll do. The same thing here. Only it's I think it's, I don't know, if you're gonna have 100 people or wherever, you can do like a $200 deposit and say you're at least gonna buy, you know, like $200-300 worth of beer and stuff like that, and it's like whatever. I mean, unless they're having an event. But there's so many like this. There's a lot of family bars that are like large restaurants, and then bars downstairs and all that stuff. So there's a lot of areas around here where we have a lot more space. So there's a lot more competition between them to get people booked in there. $200-300 sounds like a 5-man party. Well, I don't know what kind of parties you go to, but 5-man party for $200 sounds super cheap.
I mean.
But we also know how to drink around here, so that $200 deposit turns into more like $2,000 worth of drinks for only 10, 15 people showing up.
I mean, 200, 300 is like a 1-man party, depending on
it's like depending on the bar. It's like, that's a $25 drink. What are you talking about? It's like,
I was at this, and I don't want to totally derail us from Star Citizen, but I was at this one place. It's like a speakeasy kind of a place in New York. They like this kind of things here, and when I went to go pay for my stuff and get out of there, they used the wrong card. It's somebody else's card. I left. And they like, this is expensive. Speakeasies are pretentious as hell in New York. Yeah. They're like $15, $20
Pretension in New York? You're crazy.
Like they're like $15 to $20 per drink, like kind of a place, right? And I left, and they found me on Facebook somehow, and they like texted me on Facebook. I was like, OMG, we gave you somebody else's credit card. Please come back. Please come back. I went back to this place. I gave them this other random person's credit card that I guess I had. And they're like, free drinks for the rest of the night. I was like $20 a drink. Hell yeah! So I was like getting drinks. I was giving them out to people. I was like, anybody.
Oh my god! $20 drinks for everyone. Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh man.
Crazy.
But,
hey, we're gonna go over there. See?
Yeah, absolutely.
Speakeasy, yeah.
Well, it's so expensive.
Open the sliding door.
Yeah.
What's the password?
That's what the speakeasies are like. You go there in New York, you go to speakeasies, and they don't look like bars.
You're a pretentious bastard.
Yeah.
How'd you know?
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dumb. Anyways, back to Star Citizen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so CitizenCon will probably be announcing, we're looking to do some group up stuff while at least, you know, we're out there. We're hoping the rest of the community wants to do some stuff too. We were talking a little bit about maybe doing a brunch or some lunches and stuff in between the events and all that. So hopefully we'll have some meetup ideas and all that stuff. So that's good. And I think it'll be fun for us all to have some of that. But we'll have more announcements coming soon, hopefully, with that. And what else is going on? Oh, yeah. There were shows this week. Shows and things.
What? Oh, shows. Yeah.
Shows. There were shows.
Shows.
Shows. I don't know. Like calling all devs.
The money.
Like calling all devs. You know, calling all devs had some good stuff. I loved the shirt.
The shirt was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I used to have that shirt until I had kids, and then they destroyed that shirt. But yeah, it was. I don't know. It was decent.
I don't remember it.
You don't remember it?
Yeah, I watched it, so I think once I see the questions, I'll remember it.
Yeah, I had a problem with some of the question stuff. This one,
yeah, the power
items
systems.
2.0.
yeah, this one is basically after the 3.2 power systems. What else is left for the complete implementation of the item system 2.0? Yeah, and I was just gonna say, just as a prelude here, and then we'll switch over to Luke to start with. The whole thing is with the item 2.0. It's, and again, I've said this many times, but CIG has kind of caused their own issue with this because they framed item system 2.0 like it was a thing, not a tech, right? If we're just showing stuff off, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, they framed it like it's a thing. And so people want to know when the thing is done. Like it's one item, like one complete little process thing, and when it's done, hey, we're all done with this, guys, is perfect. And that's not what it is. But I'll let Luke expand because I know he's got some stuff to say about it.
Well, I mean, coming from a software background, it's like I did like the question, but I don't blame the person who asked the question because if you don't understand, right? Like that's that way
CIG's framed it that way.
Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, but I mean, item 2.0, in my perspective, and I could be wrong, but from my software background, is basically a weird roundabout way of saying loosely coupled modularized systems. Like you're basically saying, look, I'm going to create items inside subcomponents of a greater system that like interface with each other through APIs. And if they don't get certain like data from other systems at a certain like in a certain way, they have inputs and outputs. You know what I mean? And so you're creating these when you modularize components, you can remove them, add new ones fairly easily, and they all communicate through a fairly standard API. And that's all that item 2.0 means. That's all it means. And it's just a way of programming. It's not a thing that you deliver.
Well, but the other difference I think is that this was also a change from, I think this is coupled with the whole going from XML defined objects over to their data forge thing, and then the items 2.0 is kind of what allows them to link all those things together and for components to communicate with one another. So I think you're right. I think that's what it is. But they did have to convert a lot of the stuff that they had kind of bespoke things for into that system, and everything else that they've developed since then is already automatically items 2.0. Yeah, and I think that's what he said. So I think that, hopefully that clears it up for everybody.
Yeah, I think the better question would have been, and obviously it's not the person's fault for asking the way they did, but is everything converted off the legacy, like, you know what I mean? Like,
that would have been the question.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Didn't they answer
He did.
that in this question?
They did.
He did. He did exactly what Luke was just saying. He reframed the question a better way. That's what he literally said. He said a better way to put it would be what's left on the legacy code. Because really that's what it is. By labeling it item system 2.0, it really does it a little bit of a disservice, because what happened was it was a hit point. Like if you read the punch list, if you read the roadmap, if you look at the votes they did previously, hey, you guys want to get item system 2.0 done? Let's vote for this, and then you read the subtext in that, and that's not what it is at all. It's about implementing certain applications of what 2.0 code means. That's not...
The programmers are using C++, right?
Yep.
And C++ is an object-oriented programming language, right?
Yes.
Object-oriented is you can conceptualize it as if each object is in itself a small program that you can call to, or that you can connect to other small programs. They write these objects in order to be usable across software. And that's kind of what I was seeing when they were talking about item system 2.0, was that each of these like coolers would all be a part of an object oriented program that says, hi, I'm a cooler and these are my stats, this is how you use me, and they would just be able to call to that once they make new things with this new item system 2.0. It's just a fancy word for calling to these new subprograms, these new objects. They're now, they've written the program now that they can call to all these things as objects, but the other programs like the weapons and the coolers and all these things, they weren't written to be called to. They weren't written as objects. So they had to rewrite them all so that they are finally written as objects that can be called to by the item system 2.0.
Yep.
Is that?
I think
that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, it's like there's a couple ways to explain it, but technically object-oriented code doesn't have to be loosely coupled and modular, but generally it is by definition. So
if you do it well.
And you get a lot of different explanations with this from different perspectives, and I think John explained this pretty well there. John Crew did, not the other John, but this John Crew. he explained it pretty good. was the fact that he said that it's not something they're really done with, because the way they internalize and look at 2.0 when they talk about it as programmers and engineers, it's the code, right? So essentially the way I sum it up as a layman is they're getting rid of the legacy code on items. That's what it is. That's the dumbed down Matachi way of saying it. It's like they had an old code, now they're updating to a new type of code, and so every single asset that comes in has to be geared towards this code. But as they create new assets, they're already creating them with this code in mind.
Right.
Yep.
So when they say, hey, we'll never be done with 2.0, that doesn't mean that they'll have to rewrite everything. That just means this is the method they'll be using moving forward from here on.
Yeah, until they get to 3.0. And then
until they have to make a substantial change. Hopefully not.
The beauty of, if they have smart enough people writing that the base code that call, like each one of these like the coolers, the code that is for that, if it has the proper object, if it's written in the object oriented way, that you can always call to it, and if it needs modifications, they're going to be slight, not massive. Like,
well, I mean, again, we don't have to go down the rabbit hole too deep, but like it depends. There's a lot of things that can go into it. Like if you have the structure of the system, the mechanisms that you're using to communicate between systems, the APIs that you've developed, if they're insufficient in some way, like you can still have to do massive overhauls even when you build stuff well. And when you write code, to some degree, and I'm coming from a limited perspective in my world. I mean, I'm in the software world, but it's not gaming. When you write and build code for an application, you're always judging. You're juggling, as any good engineer does, time, effort, money versus what has to be built. You don't want to over-engineer things, because if you over-engineer, you're delaying release. You're like whatever. So like, good code isn't always what you're targeting. You're targeting for just good enough code. Like, if you're going for good code, then you're usually over-engineering. You want to build a system that's capable of being extended upon, obviously, but like so we'll see. I think we're going down the rabbit hole, and I do apologize for that.
I think they did over-engineer this, and that's fine.
Hey, we're all nerds here.
Because I really believe that they prepared it to do about everything, because I think Mark had a big hand in a lot of the path of how they wanted to develop the new code. So that way it's a little more future-proof, because that way if Chris goes, hey, I want to add this, he tried to future-proof it a little bit more. So I don't think we'll ever have to see a rewrite of specifically the item code or anything, because they've made enough. At least that's what they've kind of alluded to at this point.
Well,
so we'll see.
The tool that they replaced the XML with,
DataForge.
DataForge is an object-oriented plug. You plug in, you say, oh, okay, here's all these things. All you now have to do is write this thing that can now be plugged into the DataForge, which is just a big API, I guess.
But if you look at everything they're doing outside even like 2.0 and everything is over-engineered now. That's why they're building tools to build planets, tools to build solar systems. They're not just building the planets. And they have to future-proof everything they can to make it easier to expand the universe moving forward.
It's not just, so I was going to say, it's not just about future-proofing. It's about, okay, we know we have to, look at the size of the moons that we have, right? Look at the amount of stuff that's on there. Look at the amount of stuff.
Look at the amount of planets. We have one planet right now. We're going to add one more, and they have literally hundreds to add.
Right. So, in order for them to be able to do this within a reasonable, like Chris said, he doesn't want to have this being done for the next 15 years before it launches, right? He wants it out as fast as possible. So, as I explained to my viewers, I think that what they're doing is the slow climb up, like the roller coaster ride, half the ride itself is that climb up to the top of that, it's like that tick 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 tick, and this is the whole, they're building everything. After that, it's going to go relatively quickly compared to what's going on right now. From what we see, there's so much going on.
I expect in the future, not necessarily even into this year or next, but I think after 2019 we'll start to see them, instead of dropping planets or moons, we'll see them drop solar systems. You know what I mean? I think by 2020 they're going to be dropping complete solar systems.
If they hit the target, right? Like, did he say 2 weeks per moon kind of a thing?
Yes, something like that.
Okay, so 2 weeks per moon. I don't know. Like, let's just somewhere in there. I mean, it wouldn't be unbelievable to think like every 3 months we're getting a new solar system. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you can hit that kind of throughput every quarter, we're getting the Stanton system. We got that the next time.
So that's kind of. I agree with you. on that. I think that that's kind of what they were talking about in how they're coming to this new stride that they're in right now. The updates are like slow, but I think you're right that they are looking at bringing us to a point where once a quarter, instead of releasing like what they're doing now with the updates, and they're kind of limited. Next one is Hurston with its moons, and then after that it's ArcCorp. It's going to be every quarter it'll be a new system.
Yeah.
And then what Chris said last year was once they get to 5 to 10 solar systems, it's beta time.
Yeah.
There'll still be, even while we're in beta, there'll be new systems being created.
And I think it'll continue to accelerate. I think beyond, after we get to, it's like this year, get almost this entire solar system, if not the whole solar system, pretty close to done. Maybe touch it up beginning of next. And then we'll start to see solar systems drop individually per quarter. And then I think the following year, you'll see 3 solar systems. You know, like you'll start to see like groups there, because that's all they'll be focusing on, because the rest of people will be QAing the beta in 2020. And that's what I'm thinking.
I'm kind of thinking that they're going to get I don't know why we haven't seen Microtech on the schedule, because I always thought that it would come after ArcCorp. But
I know nothing about it.
Yeah, Microtech is the Hoth planet, right?
Oh, it's cold.
Ice. Yeah, it's the total ice ball, right? But it was a terraforming gone wrong. So they did actually get forests on there. They've shown like forests on there, but it'll be like the Siberia, right? It'll be like constant winter, Siberian winter, ice cold, always everywhere.
I think a little bit of what they're trying to do, just my hypothesis anyway, is they're trying to get all the different biomes, right?
Yeah,
like right now, so it's like
100%.
they're trying to do one of like, now we want some grasslands. They'll probably do some water coming up in one of the future builds and stuff like that.
Well, isn't Hurston supposed to have like 5 or 6 biomes?
Yeah,
it is. It has the most diversity.
Mining biome type stuff, right? They have the
they
savanna
had
biome,
the strip mine biome, the savanna biome. They had a forest that they showed us. Now I don't know. Did they say that was going to be on Hurston? I know they
thought it was.
I thought it was. Yeah,
I thought it was.
Then there's the radio, the trash biome, right?
Yep, the junkyard.
The junkyard, right? So we've got those. I think there's a forest. The ocean biome. We know there's an ocean there.
Well, or large lakes. 6. Is it an ocean or like a large?
No, it's an ocean.
Water?
Okay, no, they've got an ocean on Hurston.
So I think we'll get a lot of that stuff with there, and then I think you'll start to see them break out and possibly start to build the adjacent systems, or at least connecting systems, where they can start to move some of these locations out from there.
Yeah.
But again,
it's like,
but again, I think that goes back to what we've been talking about, is all of the stuff that they're doing is they're building the tools. Item system
exactly.
Item System 2.0 is just a set of programming tools that they can quickly add other things into after it's done and working properly.
Yeah, and if I could guess, like when it comes to the biomes, like if I had to make a guess, like you'll have like a desert biome, right, with like rolling dunes, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like on a new planet. They're like, oh, we need a desert here, but they'll just go and grab the desert biome. Now that desert biome will probably have variables that you can manipulate to change, like how big the dunes are and the
colors of sand.
Yeah. So you could be like, well, this is going to have like small rolling hill, like sand dunes that are going to be red, right? So when you go to that planet with the red dunes, you won't realize that it's really the exact same tech that made the huge like orange sand dunes of some other planet or moon. So
look at the differences between the rocks and the textures on Yella versus Selen versus Damar, right?
Yeah.
They're using a lot of the same tech on each one of those. They're just changing it up a bit.
Yep.
And every single time, like I still see patterns from orbit. You can still see looks like the stamp tool that you can use in Photoshop, where you could just cut out, circle something and then cut that out and use it as a stamp. And it looks very repetitive. And the human eye is really good at picking out those repeating patterns. But those patterns are starting to disappear. Every patch, they fix the way that now, if you look at the way that the textures are on Yella, instead of being these harsh edges between two textures, they blend really nicely.
Yep.
Right.
And
but that's the kind of tech that they're all trying to work on, that it will be seamless. So when the artist goes in and builds the planet, that it's going to do that automatically. The textures will blend properly. Like they've talked about that, where how that there'll be that transition zone between biomes.
Yeah.
So they're still working on that. We're going to see the first iterations of that on Hearthstone. So I'm really excited about all these tools.
Yeah, and they've already established precedents. You'll see Planet Tech, I think, iterate, getting better. Like the first forest we ever see, it's probably going to be massively different when they get like closer to completion of something, or oceans, etc. So,
and it'll be interesting. I'm really interested to see like when or if they implement the destruction of some of the environments to just the surface areas and stuff. Some of that, because it's really easy to simulate on these desert kind of whatever, like when gunfire hits or anything, it's an explosion or a ground spurt. But when you have actual foliage, flora and fauna around, it's a little bit different scenario. So we'll see. I think that's probably also something they're still not struggling with, but perfecting to what the degree they want.
And I know they don't want to like have any kind of permanent deformation of systems and surfaces and stuff like that. But like if you smash into a sand dune, with your spaceship, and
I drop a reclaimer on a tree, I would expect the tree to be destroyed at least temporarily.
Not just a bounce, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there's some things around that I think that they're
remember
gonna have to work on,
in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 when they crash on that planet at the beginning of the movie, and they just see them crashing through the trees, and the trees are splintering, and the ship is falling apart. I want that kind of experience.
I do too. That'd be cool.
And I don't care if it grows back in a week or two. That's but I don't want it to crack, crash, boom, boom, and an hour later, no damage at all.
Yeah,
crash like nothing.
When they said no terraformation, like terraforming, and no like deformation, I think they were mostly implying permanent. Like you can't permanently change the landscape of a planet. But I think that I'm hoping that they include some aspect of, temporary, like, hey, here's
like you knock down these trees and stuff like that.
Yeah, or even when you crash into the ground, creating like a temporary deformation in the ground, like a crater. You know what I mean?
Well,
like
now they said
it's temporary; it'll disappear over time. Whatever, it's fine. But
they said that there is going to be like tire tracks that will last for much longer than they do now. Because right now they're using, I think, graphic sprites, and they want to use what they're calling. Oh shoot! Now I'm forgetting the name of it. Stencils. Is it stencils? No,
I don't know. It doesn't matter what it is.
Anyways, they have a different technology that they'll be using to keep things like tire tracks and footprints longer. Now they'll still disappear over time, but they want it to be
like an hour or something.
Yeah, well, it depends on the environment. So the environment will determine how long something stays.
It's kind of like bullet holes, right? When you fire a gun and you map bullet holes on something, but if you fire like above a certain number of bullet holes, they start vanishing and disappearing behind it because it becomes redundant. So I imagine they'll do something similar with the terrain based on where it's going.
I don't think this would ever be a practical scenario in the game, but could you imagine like coming down onto the surface of a planet and seeing people's footprints walking off in a certain direction and go, oh, they went this way, and going to try to find them?
Decals. That's what it is. They've talked about decals being able to do exactly what you're saying in the future. Because this is something that they want to be able to do for bounty hunting. They want us to be able to land near this dude's ship and go, oh, he's not in the ship. Where the heck is he? Hey, footprints. Go that way. You know? So there is that. Now, the decals, they said that on a desert planet that has an atmosphere, your footprints won't last very long.
I agree with Waka, though. I would ultimately like to see player wrecks from days ago. Yeah. And unless they accumulate. Like, I understand, like, say you have a big space battle, there's 50 dudes, and all the wrecks fall to the planet. I understand, like, maybe in that 4-kilometer areas, they can't drop like 50 ships and have them permanate there all the time.
Well, you might be able to. So
maybe eventually.
Not permanently. There's actually, I feel like, and I'm again not a game developer, but in my mind, I feel like there's a reasonable way to handle that, which is ships blow up, the wreckages theoretically stay in the system for a day or two, or whatever you consider normal. Like, you know what I mean? And then after some period of time, they no longer are the exact ship. There's some sort of default wreckage. You know what I mean? So they turn into instead of the server keeping track of all the details of the ship that blew up and all the components it had into it, if nobody reclaims it within a day or two, it turns into a normal derelict. Which is like a default derelict with default components. And And then even then, like even after let's say a week, nobody comes by to reclaim that default derelict. They could just have the server despawn it and say, look, some other NPC came by and cleaned it up and reclaimed it. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways to handle the cleanup process of derelict ships in the game. Even 50 to 100 ships. Again, I don't know from a capability perspective, but I can't imagine why that would be impossible to do.
Didn't they say that there was a that they were going to have the insurance companies kind of like making contracts to go get and reclaim the derelict ships?
It or salvage and stuff, so you might see AI come in. And it depends on the area, right? Like if you're out in deep pirate space or something, they're probably not going to send a lot of NPCs just to go.
No, but you can then assume that it was the pirates that scavenged, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that as long as there are other players around, the wreck should persist.
But when they're not there, it starts to decay and disappear.
Or if you like give them enough time. Like let's just look at like the center of civilization and then think of it as concentric rings going out. The further away from civilization you are, the quicker it'll decay. Yeah. The closer you are, the longer it takes to decay, because maybe you see a wreck, you're going, oh, I got to go back and get my
you want to try to recover your own stuff, maybe those type of things.
But regardless, it's really just a matter of the number of wrecks, the detail of which you store the history of those wrecks, and the persistence in time on average of the total wrecks stored. Right, to some degree, there's probably something to do with the number of wrecks per square or whatever volumetric space or something. But overall, I think they just have to figure out technologically what the servers can handle and keep track of from a performance perspective. Once they figure that out, they can develop the rules, like you say, of whether it's an hour before somebody spawns, a day before somebody spawns, or something. You know what I mean? So I think that's just it's just anyways.
All right, moving on. Question number 2.
Jay Lee finally survived, got home.
Yay, Jay Lee survived. So Jay Lee, now you got to watch the show till we get to your part, and then you can come in and comms. So we can get some live comments aftermath.
Yeah.
All right. So next question, I want to address towards Scorpion a little bit. It says, with quantum linking, why do ships have different quantum travel speeds? So they talked a little about this. Did you catch this, Scorpion? Did you see this part?
I did see that part. Yeah.
Awesome. Pop quiz. Tell us about it, Scorpion. Tell us all about it. What the explanation, what the terms, and then what your thoughts are on that. Is a good mechanic, bad mechanic?
Tell the class everything that you've studied in that game.
Well, I'm happy that I'm getting to speak here again, which is nice. So,
see, I directed
that. All good. No, if I felt strongly, I would have jumped in, but I was good. So that was good. I thought it was interesting. I think pretty much to boil it down, I think that what they talked about was the fact that they ships have different quantum speeds based on their size, mass, etc., which I'm not sure that necessarily makes sense depending on what the fake physics are behind it, but we don't really know. But I think at the end of the day, I think it was the coolness factor that led them to that, where they want to be able to have kind of this thing where when you end the quantum, you have these ships kind of pop out at different times, and that's cool. And I think I haven't experienced it yet because I haven't done it a whole lot. I've done it a little bit.
It's not in.
But it's what?
It's not in. I tested it a whole bunch of times. It doesn't work the way they described it.
Right. We were talking before. You weren't here yet. You were still streaming.
Okay.
But yeah, we were talking as well before that even if it does work and you pop out at different times, you're so far away that you can't really see.
Upwards of 10K and sometimes.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So that's unfortunate because I think but that just means that they're still tweaking it, right? I mean,
it does work to an effect. Like when we jumped back, so we decided that jumping to, you're always going to be spread out jumping to a moon. We did 2 different ways. We jumped to a spot on the moon. You know how you go to one location that keeps people closer together. But the best one was everybody jumping back to Port Olisar because it's a small location, and you when you end your jump, you're actually relatively close to the space station, right? Yeah. So if you do that, I was able to see I think 4 come out. So yeah, I mean that was it was all right. But it still was most of them there was a big lag between some of the ships when I did the jump, and I was trying to figure out which ones were faster. Was it the big ships that were faster? Because I seemed to be getting there first in the big ships than the small ships.
The way they described the mechanic to work is what's supposed to happen is it takes longer for the large ships to spool up before they go, but they're supposed to have a faster quantum speed during quantum travel because they have larger engines and all that stuff. There's two factors here. I think first off, they probably haven't implemented this intention all the way, but that's the way they intend it to work. The second thing is we're jumping very short distances relative to what we're supposed to do. So maybe over time, if we're going planet to planet, you'll see that 600i overtake a Hornet like greatly, and it's coming out than the fighter group does. So that could be it too. Because even jumping from Port Olisar over to Delamar is not that far a jump by comparison jumping between planets when they're talking about multiple minutes to get places and stuff.
And did somebody try that out? Going from Delamar to Port Olisar?
I did multiple times. I tried it with a 600i and like
how many people
Razor.
did you have?
I tried it with a whole bunch.
And what was the result? Were you quantum linking or not?
Yeah,
at all?
we were quantum linking. It's the only way to do it. And so we quantum linked and we were jumping. And no matter what size of ship I chose, if I was a smaller ship or a bigger ship, if I was the one initiating the quantum link, I always spooled and quantum faster, arrived first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it didn't matter what size of ship I had. So I don't think the mechanics they're talking about with spooling time and speed is in the game yet.
Yeah, it could be. It could be because they were talking because John was definitely talking about their intention, not necessarily what we have at this moment. So,
Right.
Oh, I discovered something really cool today with the quantum jumps, the spline jumps.
Yes.
If you're on the surface at night, like on the night side, you can see them. They look really cool.
Really? That's kind of cool.
Yeah, they look like shooting stars.
Oh, that's badass.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I thought, what is this, a meteor shower? Because there were like 3 or 4 of them. I was
that would be cool. You should get a fleet of those and then have somebody on the dark side jumping them.
That's a cool idea, actually.
Yeah,
maybe
that'd be neat. We'll get a whole fleet of like Super Hornets or something going
on the server, and everybody pick a different spot over the backside. And crisscross.
Yeah, crisscross over to different.
Get
jumps
some people at OM6 and some people at OM3, and then see about crisscrossing. That would be.
We'll play some
cool.
Disney music in the background. When you wish upon a star.
Yeah.
So does that mean that you can see quantum travel again? Because for a while there, in one patch, you could actually see ships quantum travel across space, right?
Yeah, which is so cool.
That.
Yeah, so I wonder whether that
I definitely
is like
see
back in.
Yeah, there was a lot of time more recently in the last couple patches. I didn't see the poof when they come out when a ship comes out. I can now see other ships do that. If I'm here, like at Cryastro, I can see other ships do that cool Star Wars boom, 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 boom come out now. So they've apparently synced that up. Yeah, so it's
all right. That is cool.
And you hear it too. You get the audio from other ships coming out, so it's like your alert that they're on deck.
Maybe we should do a quantum linked jump to Cryastro and have somebody sitting on Cryastro.
That'd be cool.
And then all get killed.
Right?
Yeah, it's generally in the dark. Yeah.
Yep. That'd be good.
Yeah, right now Cryastro is like Mogadishu. It's not
pretty much, yeah.
Safe place.
Yeah, but if you have a server to yourself, like
50 people, you can do it. It's like, here we go, guys. Super quantum link.
You won't have a Mogadishu. You'll have a
What's the most amount of people you've gotten in a quantum jump so far? I've done 6. I haven't gotten over that.
I don't know. I didn't count. I've probably been about.
Well, I mean, with that queue, I've seen 6 people on my beep 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 6 people on my thing. So I guess 7 including me, but I haven't tried more than that.
Yeah, I haven't either. I barely knew how to collect quantum link until like last week. So
yeah, it's like it's whoever first starts it, right? It's like you don't know.
Right.
I wish there was an indicator other than the text, like who you're quantum linking to. Like there was a little emblem there, like just on the side instead of it just popping on top.
What I'd like to see is that if you're like for example, if you're in a group, that's how the quantum linking happens, right? So whoever the leader of the group should be the only person who can control it.
I'll tell you why.
Makes sense.
I'll tell you why they won't do that. As an FC in EVE Online, the reason we had 4 FCs in every fleet because they'll target the commander, and if you kill the commander and he's the one who can link, you're kind of sitting there holding your bag. So
but how do you know who the commander is? It's not like I can look at a group of people and know exactly who the leader is.
Yeah, you can.
No, but
you'll figure it out.
I do think they need to improve on it a little bit. I don't like. Sometimes I've gotten pulled into a quantum link when I didn't want to. I didn't.
Yeah, there
realize
should
it,
be.
you know
I
what
wish
mean?
there was a hot cancel button. I do agree with that. I
Yeah,
wish there was
or-
something like.
Yeah, or something that's like so and so has entered, like initiated quantum, like something. Do you
Even
wanna
if they don't
participate,
intend
or,
to,
like, you know what I
anybody in the
mean?
party, anybody in the party who initiates a quantum link, it's like, hey, so and so's quantum linked, and then
Yeah.
if you're trying to go, say you had a squadron of people, let's get this to a bigger scale. You have 20 people in your fleet, and you want half your guys to jump over to Yellow, the other half to go to Selen. You tell everybody, okay, let's spool up. What happens? I mean, you want to be in the same party, but they haven't delved down to make it complicated enough to volunteer.
You know how
which
they
group
have
you're going
the
in.
add to party, that kind of stuff. Maybe you can have one more thing on there that you can, red leader, blue
I
leader.
think they're
That's what I'm
moving
saying,
away.
like
that.
They're moving away from F11. I think to begin with. Yeah, I understand the idea
Yeah.
of controlling grouping and subgrouping inside of parties. They're going to continue with that, but
Yeah.
I don't know what the visual will be on how you manage that
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, I think
Well,
you should be
maybe
able
it'll
to, whether it's
be
to your
that's-
ship,
Maybe
I
it's
think
a HUD
you,
in your screen.
well, if
know,
it's
one of the MFDs.
I feel like quantum linking is a ship feature. It's not
Yeah.
a personal feature. It's a ship feature. So you quantum link your ship to something, and I think when you're in a fleet, you should be able to choose what ship lead you want. You know what I mean? If that ship blows up, you should be able to choose a different ship. You know what I mean? And so if that
Yeah.
ship is like going into quantum, then you.
I had an
follow it.
idea that there should be a certain type of ship or a certain type of avionics computer that if your ship doesn't have it, you can't control a quantum linking thing. Like,
Yeah,
so
that'd be-
if you want, maybe you'd have to have a command, like the kind of ship, like not every ship should be able to have a quantum interdiction device attached
Yeah.
to it.
Well,
you know.
quantum edition is different per se,
Yeah.
but I think like it's like quantum linking to me is more, and again, that's what I meant, but it's more like using a cell phone. It's like sending a text. It's like,
Yeah.
well, every ship can communicate, so I don't see why quantum.
Every
linking
ship
would
with a
be
quantum
limited,
drive
but-
should be able to do link, and the reason is, again, I'll go back to developing things on the battlefield, because you don't know. It's like when people are blowing up and stuff. It's all right, guys, get out of here on me, and everybody like align this, and like then you punch it when you see all your guys queued up, so you know you're getting your fleet out, and you're not leaving one guy behind. I like that, but we need cancellation button. We need to know who the ball is. Like eventually, we'll get some of this. We'll get some sort of like inner thought where I can signal on my ship, like, okay, we lost our 2 squad leaders. Now it's on this guy, and form up.
I was
on
able
him,
to
those
leave
type of
people
things.
behind.
Do you think? But do you really
They
think that
turned away from they were no longer spooled up, and I didn't see that they had turned away, and I hit the button, and everybody who stayed spooled up went with me. The other two were left behind.
It only works
yeah,
if they're
they-
spooled and aligned and ready to go. Then they'll get pulled in right away. But
You can cancel by turning away from the target.
You
Yeah, but
can,
Instant.
but
it's still.
a lot of times you have your whole fleet aligned. You're like, okay, red 1, red 2, go. We'll hold, and then But we're not at that level yet of game.
No, we're not.
And when we're there, they'll have new systems, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think the key here is like you don't obviously build something and like it's iterative, right? So sometimes if you over engineer it to begin with, you don't know how people are going to use it. It's better to build something simple. Let's see how people use it, and then improve on it. But real quick before we jump on another subject, do you think quantum linking will be used in a form of retreat, or
Absolutely.
in my mind, it's only valuable for like entering a combat together, but escaping is just every man for themselves.
No,
for the most part.
No, because I'll tell you why. Think about the way they're describing interdiction working, right? With the quantum bubbles, like a large ship you're trying to get out. And this won't really be too relevant until we get large ships like Idris's and stuff, and we're trying to save the Idris with our fighters, protect and give it a shell.
Yeah.
He's trying to spool up and get out, right? You're keeping the fighters off there, and he's like, okay, guys, I'm aligned, I'm ready, I'm clear. And then it's like everybody else can line up, you can jump with them. You don't want to live a large ship behind.
That doesn't work because you said in the current thing it takes longer for big ships to spool up and get out of there.
It will.
If you quantum link and you jump out with big ships and small ships, the
big ship would have. That's
the
it.
small ships would leave and the big ship would be stuck behind and get shot.
Big ship's trying to get out. He spools up. He's aligned. He's ready to go. Then the little ships can quickly line up and get spooled up and ready to go. So as long as you protect him long enough for him to get his spool on, that's when you're ready to jump. We did the same thing in EVE Online. You have to align stuff. So when you had like Titans on field, Titans were huge ships and they take a long time to align up by comparison to everything else. So you'd have to have your fighter groups and your other groups of battleships and stuff like that. They would try to fend off if a Titan's getting like wrecked. And so he'd have to line off. We'd have to kill all the interdiction bubbles because they'd have interdictors on field. And as soon as he cleared the bubble, he's like, all right, I'm ready to go. And then everybody was like, they jumped together because you don't want him to end up somewhere and the rest of your protective fleet not. because then it's
That's
like, oh,
true.
where you
I
got to
can
go.
see that as well.
Yeah.
I've always felt though that there needs to be more of this tension between adversaries, and
it's going to be amazing when we get the first caps in. I'm just telling you, because it's going to be like, don't lose the interest, every man in on there, you know, it's like protecting them. Everybody's like, don't let him go, and they're dropping torpedoes on.
You're gonna have to. Yeah, go for it. Sorry.
Remember when I was saying that I feel that the best tension building game mechanic would be that everybody has to reach a certain speed in order to spool. You can't just spool at 0, right? You just can't turn and face the direction and, all right, we're spooling now. No. In order to run, in order to get going, you have to get up to speed. You have to get to that 88 miles an hour.
And that's the way it works in Eve. And I'll tell you what, I have a nasty habit. I'm having flashbacks of Eve, because when I spool up, I aligned to target just like an Eve. And people are like, Matachi, you're like over 10K away, because I'm like aligned, ready to go, and I'm moving because it's my habit.
And the big ships accelerate very slowly.
Yes.
But have a much higher top speed. And that's what I want to see. And then the small
not
ships,
right now.
They accelerate. No. This is what I think should be
the final
tension.
I agree with you.
Tension building kind of battle.
I agree
where
too.
Your small ships, they have extreme immediate acceleration. They can get to their top speed really fast. The big ships are lumbering hulks. They're sitting there accelerating very slowly. So while they're accelerating to that point where they can finally spool up, they can't spool until they get to that speed. So while they're doing that, you're sitting there, protect the ships, protect the Idris, protect the Javelin while we get, we're trying to get to speed. You got to take out those fighters, so we can get to speed, and then the guys who are attacking are going, hey, knock out their thrusters. We just need to knock out one thruster and they won't be able to get to speed, right? So it's like, slow them down, hit those thrusters. We know we gotta, everybody concentrate on the right thruster or something like that.
There was so much meta with that in Eve, because what it wasn't a set rate of speed, it was a percentage. Everyone had to be 75% of their top speed in order to jump. So for big ships, it's whatever. Yeah, because it was like that way you had all differentials, and it was like the smaller ships could accelerate faster to it. So everybody had to align to target, and that was what replaced in EVE Online. They didn't have calibration. You just had to accelerate and be perfectly aligned to target. So you still had that whole target there, be aligned, but you reach 75% of your speed, then you'd be able to jump as long as you weren't interdicted. So what we used to do is cheat a little bit. It wasn't cheating, but as a game mechanic, you could web your target. And the webs would slow down ships, so decrease your top speed by half. So we'd web a target, which would automatically make it over 75% of its maximum total. And so we'd web targets off the field. We could actually slide caps sideways. They'd be trying to align to target and be like, web them! And it's a friendly, and we'd web them off the field to get them off the field.
That's cool, though. It's kind of emergent,
it was. It's like, quick, throw webs on them. It was fun.
Yeah. Well, it's a little Star Trek-y. Like, let's modify the deflector dish to, like, do something.
So you're, like, targeting your own guys with, like, a reduction type scenario that you normally use against the enemy in order to get him off the field and save his butt. So it was really neat.
So the final thing that I wanted to say about that is that what I would like to see in the eventual, not quantum side of things, but just the cruise side of things, is that if you manage to get a big ship up to its top cruising speed, no little ship's going to catch up to it. You're going to have to go to get in front of it to try to do another, to somehow shoot at it as it's passing by. If you don't knock out a thruster, you're just going to have to jump ahead of it again to try to stop it. If, like, for example, let's say a cap ship has a damaged quantum engine. They're in there repairing it. They're at the top cruise speed. No little ships are going to catch up to it. You got to then dock those little ships on another Idris and then try to catch up that way. So that's what I would like to see, is that if you're the attacker and you don't succeed in knocking out their big engines and they are able to accelerate beyond what your little ships can do, you then have to dock your little ships and then try to catch up to them with your big ships.
Also, I like that. But also a question, are smaller fighters that can quantum, their quantum fuel will be lower? Like, is there a scenario in which you won't be able to quantum across an entire star system with a smaller fighter?
I hope so. I hope that the big ships can, but your little ships have to make more stops to refuel. The big ships don't. You can
not
do
just refuel. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe it just refuel.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it also depends on the ship. Like, I know if I have a bunch of little fighters that are not capable of, like, traversing the whole system without stopping, I'm going to get some of my long-range craft on the hull. It's like, oh, hey, we got an Idris. He's trying to get away. We need people to rally with us and try to, cut
that would create more
wardens.
value for like carriers because they can like transport the fighters.
Think about it. The wardens are long-range fighters, right? You're not going to make the same jump in a Gladius that you could make in a warden. Right? You got long range. You do have long range fighters out there, and you have short range fighters. I would say that your Gladius and your all of your carrier based type little fighters that they're short range. But they're effective at short range. Whereas you have other fighters in this. I mean, look at the Warden. It doesn't seem like a fighter, but considering that it's one that could go, probably at the same speed as it, could be up there with an Idris. It is one of those escort, long range escort.
But
vehicles.
it's also tactically irrelevant where, like, say you have a cat battle going on and all the fighters are fighting. One team's starting to lose. They're starting to pull away. And you're like, okay, well, our little fighters can dodge their turrets. But if I put wardens on the field, they can jump. But if they get smacked by those capital guns because they're a bigger target, they're dead. They're like, these other guys are.
So it's this whole
trade-off. It's a whole decision. I love that that you got to make the call. Like, what's it going to be? There's no perfect scenario.
When it comes to retreating, if the fighters don't get back in the big like carrier like Idris and stuff like that, they might be like not be able to keep up with the fleet because the fleet can jump really far.
Do you sacrifice your guys? Do you sacrifice the are those guys? You got to hold the field. We got to get the cap out of here. Or you're like, no, I'm not leaving anybody behind. They got to get on the ship quickly. We're getting out of here. It's like,
can you imagine? You're sitting there slowly accelerating. You're like, you guys gotta land now.
You got 2 minutes, or you won't even be able to catch us.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, all right, everybody, get fighters on board. We're getting out of here. So you got some fighters that can catch. Like
I'll be in the back of the Idris, like throwing cans out the back, like trying to block the enemy fighters. Like, they're mine. Just get them out there, just throwing stuff out. Like, that'd be great.
That whole gameplay scenario is so exciting. But that's the one thing in the spooling, in the calibration, all of that. I want there to be a speed component because that would make it just so freaking awesome.
I think right now with the current mechanic, I would assume the presumption is, hey, that you could do that anyway because you could align and do all that. But I do, like you, Uber, I want it to be like a requirement. Like, I'd rather have, instead of calibration, be like I just align and have to wait the timer. I want my ship to have to be manned and piloted. I want it to have to be moving towards that target. I want that movement to be required to do it instead of just like the calibration, because you can calibrate whether you're on the move or not. I'd rather it be you need to calibrate to get out of here, so that way the rest of the fleet can see. Because the problem with stationary movement they have, and I'm not saying they won't change this, is I could be calibrated on this target, and you can kind of tell where he is, but it's a lot easier to tell where a guy's trying to go if he's accelerating towards that planet or moon. And then as an attacker, I'm like, okay, he's lined up on Daymar. Okay, let's get some guys down there already, and they're trying to close them in and do that.
I would like to see that. I would like to see that. Like, this is the tier 0 quantum linking, right? I would like to see there be a quantum linking like tier 2 or 3 where you actually have that that station in the Idris where you have the big map where there can be a guy in there clicking on ships, getting them to automatically spool up. So he's going to be there. Don't worry about it. You do what you have to do. Because I'm at the command and control center in the Idris, I can do this because the Idris has the ability. I'd say that a similar level, but not quite as good as the Idris, would be like a Terrapin. A guy in the station at the Terrapin has a limited but much better ability than other ships to quantum link.
I do. I do like the idea. Sorry, I'm cutting off a little bit. I do like the idea of certain types of tasks in these kind of large-scale combat scenarios to be better when you dedicate a human resource to it, right? Because otherwise, everybody's going to be a dogfighter, right?
And that's not the overall scope of the game. I realize that's where we started at with the game, but we're slowly moving farther and farther away from that as we get bigger and bigger ships in. And I think the Hurricane's going to be the first start as long as the Hurricane works well. I think it's going to be the first turn of the dial to where, hey, it's not just about dogfighting. Because right now, even in constellations, like, people dogfight. Like, I'm dogfighting. It might be slower and lumbering, but people are like, all right, I'm dogfighting. I'm like, I want the ship where if you move, like, if you're doing more like ship line battles. So if I'm not kind of lined to target to get me the option of getting away if it turns bad or whatever, then I could be hosing myself. I'm not going to go straight at an enemy cap. I'm going to like be lined up to where I have options of getting out, and we're doing more turret damage broadsides on each other and stuff like that.
Well, I was thinking that the Hurricane is a crappy one-on-one. You know, a one Hurricane in a battle is going to should find himself outmatched almost immediately by most other fighters.
Yes,
but a wing.
I got destroyed by a Hurricane today, unfortunately.
But a wing of Hurricanes should just be like absolutely deadly. They just fly straight in, firing with all their front guns and the turrets, and then as they fly past you and keep going, the turrets turn around and just blast.
I think the Hurricane's going to be the ultimate griefing ship. I think they're the ship you're going to see be making strafing runs on whole E's and stuff, where they're coming in. They don't have a lot to worry about. They got one single attack run, and they're like, there goes all your engines. And you're just, once they get disabling, that ship's just floating in space like, oh crap, where are they going to board us? That's it.
I'm looking forward to disable because, again, like we were talking about this whole quantum linking thing, disabling a single engine on a and of course getting up to the 88 miles an hour, but disabling a single engine on a big ship will force everybody else to have to defend while they try to repair.
Yeah,
right?
repair
it's
that
all
motor.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Defend the fleet!
All right, let's talk about a subject that most of you guys don't care about, but I do. I'm pretty passionate about. The modules. The modules in the game. Specifically, they used the example about Arena Commander, which, you know, I'm not a huge dogfighter. I do appreciate it's there. I think it has purpose in the universe, as far as I'm concerned. It is the game within the game. It was always sold as the flight simulator, train your combat pilots without risk, especially when I picture this stuff, and I picture this in a post-launch scenario. After the game is out and death matters, this is the way you practice, like a new guy, like, hey, you've never played Star Citizen, great, man, why don't you fly your ship around in Arena Commander, get a feel for it, instead of like, hey guy, just go out there and good luck, hope you don't lose your ship and wait a timer, you know, it's like and lose a life or whatever. That's why I consider it. And I've expressed this a few times, and I hope I'm just misinterpreting what they're saying, but I really hear a lot of rhetoric from both Disco, which I love you, Disco, anyway, and everybody else, of downplaying the modules, downplaying them a lot. And it's like
modules? What do you mean by
Arena
modules?
Commander and Star Marine?
Yeah.
And I realize, like everybody else, the PU is the priority, and I agree 100%. 99.9% all resources should be in the universe to create the game, all this stuff. But I almost feel like they're at a point where they make it sound like they're almost phasing out stuff, and I don't like that rhetoric. I don't like downplaying the modules because I think they're fun. I think they're I had 3 guys actually get the game this last week because of Star Marine. I'll say that, which I warned them about that. I was like, Star Marine's really bugging broken, but they're like, it looks really cool and I can get in this and I understand this. I don't know how to fly the spaceship, I'll learn that, but I can get in and shoot people. I understand that. And I'm like, cool. But those modules, like, they keep going, oh, you know, we just created them as a test bed. It was never really meant to be its own, like, game mode type thing. And also, I'm like, it absolutely was meant to.
Didn't they say that it was supposed to be like a game within a game? It was supposed to be something.
Absolutely, it's supposed to be.
But even Chris Roberts himself, for those of you who have been around long enough and you remember, when we didn't have Star Marine and it was delayed by large because the whole Ilphonic debacle and everything else, when it finally came close to it and he was questioned during some of the 10 for the chairs and all that, he's like, you know, we've moved past Star Marine. We don't really need it. We've moved past that because technically he felt like they had it in the PU because we were in Korea flying out there, shooting each other in the face. And he got a lot of bad feedback for that. And I feel like a lot of the rhetoric's kind of like downplaying Star Marine and Arena Commander's importance. And it's because the community's so vocal about like, oh, you know, we need this stuff, we need all this. And I agree, it's not the priority, but I still want them to come out and say, this is the game within the game. This is the way we're going to do these things. We're going to have these simulators. Don't worry about it. It will happen. It's not the priority right now, but that's what we're going to do. And not backpedal. And I feel like there's a little backpedaling going.
So, I mean, can I go?
Yeah, Scorpion, go.
No.
He has the talking stick.
Sorry, I mean, like, so Disco's response, it pissed me off, right? Just plain and simple, because I thought it was disingenuous, and it was pretending like what has happened over the past years has not happened at all, right? Like, honestly, Arena Commander was the first thing we got that we could actually play, right? Hangar module didn't count. Star Marine was this big, huge freaking production where they were like, "Oh, you're gonna get Star Marine. It's gonna be so great." And then that finally came in. It was good. They've been playing around with it a little bit with like the power ups, and then those are gone now.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure what they're doing there. But the whole thing was, so Arena Commander was where we learned dogfighting. It's where I learned dogfighting. It was a really, really good game back in 2.6 point whatever, right? It's been broken pretty much since then, which is a shame because that's where we were able to really kind of learn that stuff. And Star Marine should be the same thing for the FPS stuff. I don't believe for a second, while I agree that the PU is the main thing, right? That's Star Citizen. You cannot tell me that they're not going to be using the exact same code that runs all that stuff in Arena Commander and Star Marine and the PU. It's all the same stuff, just on different maps with different end purposes. And if it's supposed to be the game inside the game, which they sold a long time ago, right, with the sim pods and the stuff, and you do this when you're
and they're on the cap ships already. They show them all the time, like, hey, look, there it is.
Right. But also, let's look at the referral program, right?
Yes.
A huge bunch of the stuff, the rewards that you get, are ships that can only be used in Arena Commander.
Yes.
So what's the purpose of having all of these ships that you can get for these different levels of that if Arena Commander isn't like extremely important part of the game?
Yeah, right? that response kind of tweaked me a little bit because
sorry.
Go ahead.
No, sorry. No, you were saying okay. All right. So I'm going to preface the fact that we're implying a lot. There was a sense of tone in the conversation that did make it seem like they were devaluing it. I don't know if they really specifically devalued Arena Commander and Star Marine. They were just kind of saying, not the most important thing in the world. Yeah. But it could have been contextual as well. Yeah.
They punched me right in my feelings.
Oh, your feelings. Anyways, but that being said, I would say that I think there's another reason why it's valuable for me. Not in the whole here's how you practice and learn how to fly and all that stuff game in the game, but like Arena Commander and Star Marine are super important because you have a highly fast iterative balancing testing. Sorry, but CIG is not going to be good at testing balance. I mean, they work too hard. They're not playing the game. They're not getting good. I hope maybe they are, but the people I know from CIG aren't going to get good at the game because they're actually building it and not sitting there like playing like a lot of people in the community do. And if I have to, so let's say for space combat, dogfighting, if I have to spawn a ship, fly to a random location, meet up with a friend, blow them up, wait like 20 minutes for my ship to reclaim and respawn, and kit it out with all the different weapons I wanted to have again because I lost them all last time I did it, and then do that all over again, the amount of time it takes me to test my ideas when it comes to dogfighting mechanics. I can only do like 2 or 3 tests per hour. But if I go into Arena Commander, I can iterate against like testing balance of different ships versus different ships and figure out if certain weapons are overpowered or underpowered or certain ships are like.
Let me play this little bit of audio here for you. I think I got it right. So let's play this.
The game, development we're at. I
can't hear you.
When the numbers of people playing,
maybe
AC right now are quite low, and can fall off quite considerably towards
the text.
I see the text here. I'll just mute it. Anyway, so basically the summary of what he's saying here, he's like, we're at a point in game development where it doesn't necessarily make sense because the numbers playing the Arena Commander and stuff like that are quite low, and I'm like, it's broken.
But that's because it's broken.
Yeah, it's like
it's
for them looking at the metrics and not understanding the reasoning behind it. It's not the lack of desire for it to be there. It's more the lack of desire that it doesn't function.
How long?
Do you know how many people want to play Arena Commander?
Yeah. How long have we had the maps on Arena Commander?
For how long?
Yeah, and have we had
before
any
2.0
maps?
Yeah, before 2.0.
Yeah.
So
have we had any new maps?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
There's
no
Microsoft,
changes.
Yeah, it's like Microsoft saying like, "Oh, nobody uses Internet Explorer." So
right.
It's like, nobody uses it because it's a bad browser. Like,
Yeah. The biggest challenge with that is the fact them looking at the metrics and saying that, and then it's like you guys said, it's obviously they aren't looking at the fact it's broken. But it wasn't but a few weeks ago they're like, "Hey guys, here's what we need you to do. Could you please get out there and just go in and make sure that you make a tutorial video for these 2 game modes of Star Marine and Arena Commander?" And I'm like, Weren't you just like, wait a minute, weren't you like, hang on.
We've
Well,
been
2 weeks
begging
ago,
for stuff.
You want us, the game modes are broke, and they were even more broke when they wanted us to do that, right? And they wanted us to make tutorial videos for that, which I don't even know who won, because I don't know what happened with all that. But then they come down and then they're talking about how they're down. Oh, it's not that, it's like nobody's really playing it, and where I'm like, dude, you just had us made tutorial videos for this, and the reason nobody made tutorial videos for the most part was the fact it's broken. And now you're saying, well, nobody's playing it.
But to the Fuse point though, so wouldn't, and I think this is the point you were making. Either way, I think from you were probably talking more from
you
like
and I,
our
Scorpion,
standpoint.
we're like on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I think you were talking more from like our standpoint, but even from a developer standpoint, right? If you're trying to fix IFCS and you're trying to fix ESP and you're trying to fix these things, don't you want to watch people like just going at it, dogfighting all the time, so you can try and figure out what the hell's broken versus trying to figure out how to find someone who might be doing it in the PU? And yeah, anyway, so I don't understand it, and maybe likely we're misreading the way Lando said it.
I'm sure,
and so because it wouldn't make any sense otherwise. So I hope that that's the case.
Yeah, I hope so too, and because I agree the same take on Star Marine, that you have a whole bunch of repetitive gunfire, right? You don't get that type of gunfire anywhere in the PU. Nobody's going to have even 6 guys shooting at 6 guys anywhere in the universe right now. It just doesn't happen unless we all organize a big thing and we're shooting each other there. That's the rarity that it happens in the actual
especially
PU.
with like attachments and all that kind of stuff coming in. And I mean,
like, so you don't get any gun data except for really Star Marine, just repetition doing that thing. You don't see the potential exploits like you do the guys jumping with shotguns. Oh, there's no hit detection. When would you discover that in the PU?
I want to see them add a map to Squadron 42, or not Squadron 42, but to Star Marine and Arena Commander that would be a combined arms. I would love to see them have a ground / like with bunkers that you're in, fighting people in, and you have people flying in with wardens with new, every time you die you appear back at a station where the wardens get into the wardens and they drop ship you into the battle, and you have people in turrets at the, I mean, good God, that just give us that map. I'll go and play that for a long time.
I normally don't interrupt the show for anything said in chat, but I have to say hello to Champion and say, oh my God, thank you so much, buddy. Like $100 donation from Champion during the SpaceBro show. Like, holy crap.
Dude.
I'm like, thank you so much, bro. It's like,
so much.
That's amazing. So that'll go towards Citizen Con trip.
Champion.
Oh, yeah.
All you can eat barbecue.
Yeah. Yep. So everybody give some bros in chat for Champion, and we'll get back in the show, even though I YouTube this and all that. Sorry, YouTube people watching. You have to just deal with the fact I'm thanking him on there because I love Champion. He's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're all we're hoping we're misinterpreting a little bit. And to their defense, on the other side of the ball, I will say they did talk about actually having maybe possibly a dedicated team work on these type of things. Right? Like they talked about a little bit. They might have a dedicated team. I hope that means in-house team, because God forbid that they outsource these things to. Oh my God! I'm like,
I got an idea. Outsource it to Ilphonic. They use this kind of stuff.
They're never gonna do that again. I think they learned their lesson, and I mean, the thing with Turbulent has worked out great, right? They're obviously fantastic. But the thing with outsourcing,
you can't lose them all.
If you don't, no, but the thing is with outsourcing is like, unless you know exactly what they're going to give to you, or you're going to be able to actually be really involved with managing what they're doing, you never know what you're going to get. And so I think they made the right choice to bring it in-house, and that obviously caused some extensive delays and kind of reworking a bunch of stuff, but that's well in the past now. So,
Yeah, but I mean, you also, like, Turbulent doesn't work on the core game. It's you can outsource features and functionality that are external to your core product.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm supposed to be quiet and let all the other people talk, because apparently I
let me talk. I'll talk the whole time. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Did you want to turn, Matix? I was like, did you want to talk?
I probably talk more than Mitachi on this show. All right, move on.
I'd say it could go either way there. I don't know. When you make your own show, you can have whoever talk you want to have. How about that? We'll do that.
Yeah.
So we'll go the other way with it instead of being polite. Yeah. What was the other question you had? Because I don't want to stay salty on that.
We had another
Let's see
question.
here. Yeah.
Oh, there's one. Okay.
He had one more question there because this was the no respawn mode, and I do think it'd be cool to have our game modes, but again, not the right time to dedicate a lot of resources to all that. Guys, don't downplay it out there, CIG. Just say, hey, we know these are game modes. We know a lot of people really enjoy them, and it's just not our priority. And I'd be fine with that. Them just saying, hey, it's not the priority. Don't go in and say nasty, mean things about some of the favorite time that I spend hours of my day doing. So
I spend almost no time in either one of the modes. But I will be honest. Like if Arena Commander and Vandal Swarm and Pirate Swarm worked the way they did in 2.6, I probably would spend more time.
Dude.
I did have fun with it.
Yes. Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
I like the cooperative aspect. I didn't like the PvP as much, but I loved it when there was that cooperative in Vandal Swarm. I think it just hasn't been very good since then,
No, it's been awful.
Yeah. And I really, one mode I would like to see come in sooner than later, once they have the AI working for the FPS, would be a horde mode, right?
Sorry. Uber Nerd can now use the gold super.
Now you got the gold skull. Oh my gosh, he's just gonna light it up. That's great. All right, so there goes the rest of the show because I'm gonna be so distracted now by chat because I feel so guilty for not being in there. Thank you so much, buddy. We might
amazing.
We might break our 300 goal here in the next 3 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. It's like
we're gonna have to name a ship after him.
Well, I've already got an emote being designed for him right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was the one I had to pay for the emotes because I'm a terrible artist, as you can see by my current emotes. But yeah, I had to pay to get one. They're like, well, one cost X, and I'm like, well, let's get this one done because I promised it a long time ago, and I still haven't done it yet. So
yeah, I know definitely. I think
it's a subtle way for Champion to remind me.
Champion might have a couple emotes out.
He does. I just used one of them from Smash's chat because Smashly's got a whole Oh my God, I know.
Bad News Baron.
I'm not gonna say how many sub gifts he did over in Smashes, but I was just like, it was insane.
My daughter does all my emotes. She'll always be my artist. So.
Yeah, well, she does a good job though. She does a real good job.
Yeah,
a lot better than I do. So, but anyway, so the Hammerhead coming in 3.3. How do you plan to adapt available missions to scale properly? And I thought this was a pretty interesting topic because those of you remember when we first got missions, right? We first got missions out there. We might have lost Uber Nerd because he looks like he's sleeping.
Uber, what happened?
He's back. It snapped in. You're frozen like this for a minute, like your eyes were closed, like you might have had a stroke, and I was going to call an ambulance or something. Anyway,
I did have a stroke.
A small stroke. Maybe I was having a stroke, and I just saw you like that. But no, basically around mission scaling. When we first got missions after 2.0 and all that, the first comlink missions and those things, you guys remember when you'd go in by yourself, you get so many enemies that would spawn. And then if you brought in a buddy and you both went and did that mission, it would spawn twice as many enemies. And then if you brought in the constellation with gunners and everything, it spawned 4 times as many enemies. It was like scaled by how many people you brought in. You would get a credible amount of enemies fighting you inside the PU during the first iterations of it. So the missions would scale based on how many people you brought, regardless of what the context of the mission was. You couldn't share the mission, but the amount of enemies would spawn. So what?
I remember you and I doing a mission.
Yeah,
we were in a Connie. I was top turret, somebody else was bottom turret, and but we had a whole bunch of people on the ship who were useless.
Yeah, who did nothing and spawned more enemies.
But managed to spawn like we had 6 or 7 pirates on.
Yeah, it was crazy.
But they're changing that now.
Yeah, thank God.
And so they talked about this in this how you would scale missions for this, and they said they basically described how they're moving away from that. And what the premise is now, for those people that don't know, the missions will be just set in grade, and it won't be this basic, because let's say they're just easy, medium, and hard. If an easy mission has 2 hostiles in it, it'll always have 2. Even if you mission share when that's in the game, it'll still just have 2. You'll just split the reward, like typical other RPGs and MMOs, where it has a set value-esque about what it is. It's not trying to scale and pay out more or make it more difficult based on the amount of people in your party. It's just that's the level mission. If you want to do a big raid and it's a really hard mission, you could try to do it solo and not complete it, or get a big payout if you do, or you could split that bounty and make it more efficient by bringing friends. And I like that a lot more than like, hey, let's just populate 1 million enemies on an easy mission because you brought friends with it. What do you guys think? Scorpion, what do you think about the scaling of what they used to do versus like just making set missions and then just distributing the loot and stuff and money?
I'll speak for Scorpion. Just kidding.
Let me go ahead. You can start if you want. I don't care.
Go for it.
You know, look, I mean, I think that so far what we've had is really, really basic missions, right?
Oh my God.
Where you go and do a thing, you get some money, and you go, and it's all done. And I honestly, so I don't know. I mean, I thought some of the ICC missions were more interesting than some of the stuff we have now. So I would like to see them be able to scale missions with the number of people that you have, because then that way, I think that'll make it much easier on them from a development standpoint to try and figure out how to kind of cater these missions to the groups that are going to be trying to get in and play them, versus trying to have to come up with bespoke mission types that are going to work for different kind of size groups or different parties. I don't know how else they're going to do it if they're not going to scale it.
Scorpion, what did you think about the 2.6 missions where you had a progression every time you finished a mission? You would get another mission that would lead you to the next one, and then there was this. They would get further and further out, and you'd feel more and more remote. And the final mission, I don't think very many people made it out. And to not the final mission, the one right before it. What was it,
the Vandal one? I loved him.
I like this. Yeah, I don't know. I like this kind of mission style giving, as long as there's like a reasonable enough information for you to make an educated decision, right? So it's like if you come up and says, "Oh, we have a mission," there's like, we think there's 4 or 5 mercenaries like that have been taking out people in a certain area and they're pretty good or powerful, whatever, you know what I mean? And you go and you think, look, and it pays well. You're like, wow, this is like 100,000 alpha UEC mission, and you're thinking, what's the catch? Why am I getting so much money, right? For doing this, then you can decide, like, maybe you're an amazing pilot, and you're like, dude, I'm gonna take all of that 100,000 alpha UEC for myself. I think that's really cool, because then you can go in, you can pwn up like 4 or 5 mercenaries, and just take all of that money, and you're set. Or if you're somebody with less skill, and I still want to get involved in something like that, I can hire 2 or 3 friends, or 6 friends, or 10 friends. So we outnumber the enemy so much that we are definitely going to win, and we're definitely going to get the money. But and we have less chance of losing ship components. Like I might be like, look, I'm not going to lose a wing. I'm not going to have to repair my ship. I'm not going to have to use as many missiles. Like all this cost to go in. And yeah, sure, if I take 10 friends, I'm only going to get 10,000 alpha UEC.
I think it's going to be about reputation.
It's kind of cool that you can do that.
As it is about money, though.
Yeah,
too,
that's a good
point. So finishing that mission, if you do that mission with 6 people, you're still going to get the reputation for having accomplished it successfully. Even if 1 person goes or 6 people go, it may be more worth the while, even though you don't get paid as much, to take 6 versus the 1, because everybody then gets that reputation boost with whoever the mission giver was. Hey, you did this for me. I'm real happy.
Do you think they'll split the rep?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think. I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so. I think that I don't think that they should. I mean,
I've seen games do it both ways. That's why I ask. I've seen some that split rep
the money.
And some,
yes,
yeah.
But I think that the rep in terms of, because remember what is it about the reputation that they've talked about so far in terms of missions? Because remember how Tessa would talk to you, and the more you would do for her, the more happy she was to see you. She became familiar with you. All of that stuff.
We do miss Tessa.
Yeah, we do miss Tessa.
We all miss Tessa.
That was a part of the reputation. I mean, that was like a taste that probably wasn't based on reputation. It was just based on you accomplishing these tasks. However, I think that they kind of have envisioned this. As you do this, other people who may not be connected to the mission but know the mission giver or are familiar with this group, that these that the whole idea of building your reputation with all these other people, if you go and do a mission together as a group, even though you don't really have to, maybe you could do it all by yourself, but you want your buddies to also get that boost with that reputation, because there's a mission that's further on down the path that if these guys don't have that rep, they won't be able to get that mission. So there are a whole bunch of different ways of.
All right, so I want to change my answer. I actually, so those are great points, I think.
See, this is why I should have gone first. Just kidding.
I actually, so those were really good points. I actually think technically based on that CIG doesn't have to worry about it at all. They just have to create missions. And then if you decide to take 100 people to a mission where it's literally like grab a box somewhere and take it somewhere, then that's on you. I mean, it's going to be crazy amount of resources, crazy amount of stuff. And I don't think you would split up rep. I think everybody would get the good rep because you completed the thing, right?
Right.
Money would be split, but that actually makes their lives a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's your choice. It's your choice to like make it more efficient. Everybody gets a lower payout, but it's more efficient to bring people. So maybe you're just pounding through missions instantly. I will after Uber says his thought though. Unless he's stuck again.
I don't. He's stuck again. I don't agree with the sharing of the rep thing. By the way, I don't think. I mean, there may be some rep share. Oh, sorry, he's back. But
there
1 second, Uber. But no. But seriously though, it's like let's say I've been working with this one like group of people, and I've been building rep up for like a few weeks, and I've got missions I've been running, and now I've got this really cool mission with somebody who's like super in on this, like hard to get whatever, and he's giving me a mission. I know I don't want to do it by myself, so I get my friends who are pretending but I get my friends. I need my friends to help me, right? But I should be getting a lot of rep, because if I accomplish this mission, I'm getting this rep from this guy that I've been building the rep. I've got like, let's say I have like 1,000 rep with this group, and now if my friends who've not built up any rep with this group come in and they help me with my mission, they shouldn't get the same amount of rep increase that I'm getting, because I'm way down the pipeline. I don't think it makes sense to share rep at all. Maybe they get a small percentage, or maybe they get an introduction to something. But
so
you mean you get all the rep and they don't get anything?
Whoever. If I'm the one who tells the person I'm working with, the NPC, look, I'll get that done for you. You can trust me. If I go out and I subcontract to my friends to help me out with the mission,
that's true.
Like, I'm taking the ownership. If I fail, it's me on the line, not my friend.
You could give them rep, but I would get the rep from the mission. Yeah, if it's subcontracted, that works.
Maybe, yeah.
But aren't we going to have factions in the game? So isn't it going to be, if they have no relationship or no reputation with the faction that you're taking this mission from, then they would, of course, and you're subcontracting to them, of course, they're going to get no rep from the mission with the faction that you got that contract from. However, if you subcontract people who already have developed a reputation with a faction, so they're liked by this faction, and then when you come back for your reward, they're like, oh yeah, these guys, the good. Hey, who are these guys? Oh, hey, I know that guy. That's Mitachi. I like him. And Scorpion. Yeah. These guys helped you. That like the because the AI recognizes them because they're already in with that, then they would get a rep.
I'm okay with that, but
I don't know these guys.
What I want to avoid though is fast tracking people who haven't gone through the cycle.
Say I have 100 people, and here's the problem with making it equal. If I grind, say okay, Luke goes over and he's doing one mission runner guy, and I'm over here doing another mission. We both get real high reps, and then we're like, okay, let's get our whole org in here as me as the mission support, 10, 15 people. They have no rep, and we're just going to grind them up real quick and rep by doing these high level things as fast as we can. The way they mitigated that a little bit, you could do that because it's a positive thing, but it was a diminishing return. So like as a high rep user, I'm sharing it out. I'm not going to get a ton of rep, but because it was my mission, I'll get majority. And if they're a level 0, they're only going to get like 0.1%. And then if they're at a level 0.1, they're going to get a little bit more. Yeah. So the higher rep you have there you go. But here's the beautiful thing in Star Citizen that you can do. Say that we just want to help Uber out get a rep. He can go to that mission runner. We can help him. He can choose not to share the mission with us, and we're just boosting him. We're just in there killing people. So maybe he just decides to pay us out of his pocket for splitting the mission. But we don't want that rep.
That's a possibility.
Yeah, we don't want the rep. We just want to help him get his. So we're not technically there.
That's fine. I'm okay with that because like with that, everybody's literally doing a time sink to do that. So you're really
absolutely.
Investing,
And so I think it should be diminishing return. It should be if Scorpion has a level 10 rep with the guy and I have 0, he might get an extra 1% boost for doing the high level mission, but because he's splitting it, he gets less, and I just get a little bit.
I think reputation, the reputation boost that you get should be based on your already existing reputation
Correct.
with whoever you're
It
doing
should be
it
a
for,
calculation
not
off that.
based on the mission itself.
Yes.
So, so if you have a really high level reputation with this organization, with this faction, let's say, and then you bring like 3 more people on board to the mission to do it with you, and they have 0, they get a tiny boost. Not the equal. You get a bigger boost because your reputation with them is already so high that they're already very impressed or happy with you. So the boost is bigger for you. But it's like the reputation, it will go up like this. The more you get, it doesn't matter that you get a lot. It still is gonna because of it's like an inverted pyramid or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So a little bit of rep at the start will boost you fairly far.
Oh, he's gone.
Then he freezes.
But to complete Ubernerd's thought, though, like it really depends on if rep scales as it grows. Like if it grows exponentially or not.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like if on mission 1 you get 1 point rep, and on mission like 10 you're getting 10 reps, 10 points per mission. Like then sharing that rep with people who haven't done anything could be hey, you're back. Could be a bit of a farming thing that I would worry about.
I didn't tell Uber I got a dump button whenever I want to stop him from talking. Freezes camera like boop.
You were talking about that.
Yeah. But like if rep grew flat, like no matter what mission you were on, you were still getting like the same grindy rep per mission, then maybe it's not
and
a
it
big
should
deal,
be diminishing returns. If you're already high level, it should be harder to try to cap that out with the guy. You know what I mean? It shouldn't be like, oh, just even scale like that. I just think that overall with rep being so important, it's like look at it from the NPC's perspective. If I have a high rep with him and he's already like, oh, Matachi's a badass, you know, I love him doing stuff. I give him the highest level missions, all this stuff. And then I bring 3 guys, it wouldn't even make sense from my logic standpoint that he really cares about these guys. He's like, well, he's giving me the mission because of me. You know, so if it's my choice to, like, if I share the mission with them, they're going to get a little bit of rep because they help me out. But that guy knows me. That's why I have most of the influence. And so I determine how to share out the stuff. I would like it even if they made it more complicated. Instead of a straight scale, say I'm a pirate captain, I'm doing a pirate mission. I choose how much we're going to pay out in shares before we do the mission. Like, I'm going to share these guys 10% of my ultra awesome mission you can have the money from. But I can't choose rep. Rep is totally just a sliding scale based on everybody's current existence.
And since we're theory crafting, I really like the idea of rep degradation. So, like, if you don't do a mission with a certain group of people after, like, a few weeks or a month, you slowly, like, you build up 100, but then you, like, don't show up for a month. You come back, they go, well, who are you? Like, where have you been? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there should be some sense of that, I feel like. So that way you can't just like farm up for one group and then you have that rep forever. And that there's, I don't know, I think it creates, in my mind, it would create a sense of like, as an org, not everybody can have rep with everybody. You'd have to kind of pick and choose who you wanted to maintain rep
and I would like, you'd have to progress to a different agent, right? Or a different representative of that faction. So like I could get a highest rep I can with Joe, this NPC and stuff, but maybe he's part of a pirate guild or something, and like Joe's only carries so much weight. He might love me, but I need to go to other members, NPCs of the pirate guild in order to get my overall rep, because why am I impress one NPC? I need to impress the whole clan to really get a high rep with their whole entity. That would make sense and make you move around.
Yeah, plus if it degrades, then you can't like just build up great rep with all the different factions, and then you're like, all right, cool, I'm maxed out with everybody, I'm good.
You got to balance,
because it's going to be a time sink to do that, and so you're not going to be able to be in good with everybody unless you're really working your ass off and actually doing that, right? Yeah, so I think that's a good idea.
Well, like even in Eve, one of the things is, say if you have a really good rep with one org, it automatically pushes you down to at least a medium rep with somebody else because they hate each other, right? So you might have missions against the other group, and you have to decline certain ones, which lowers your rep with this guy. So it's, if you ever, Eve is old a game as it is, it has this unique balancing system in it to where they'll give you like, okay, if you're doing a military mission for one faction against the other one, and you want to maintain rep with both, you're like, oh no, I don't want that one. Well, that agent takes offense because you declined his mission, even though you're trying to maintain rep. So there's all these thought process for this mechanic, and I love that. So you'll never be able to 100% with everybody. You could be neutral with everybody, or you could be good with one person and slightly diminished with the other, but you'll never have 100% with all. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. It's like I was murdering UEE the other day, and now these guys really love me too. The pirates and UEE all love me for this amazing
There
stuff.
we go.
Now, if you
Have
took
we made it-
trade missions, you could get up with everybody, but conflict missions might be easier, more money, but it's harder to maintain rep that way.
Yeah. Is this the last calling all devs question?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes. Oh, so you're saying you want to move it?
Impatient.
Hey, guess what? This is going to be the longest part of the show because
ATV is really short.
ATV is really short.
ATV is short, but it does have some stuff. And RTV
Okay,
was,
and I do want to hear
random artist. Like,
Yeah, I don't know who that guy was.
Like,
We're always going to start
drawing
with the
some
quietest member of the group, so we're going to start with Scorpion.
Why
Scorpion.
did you get this reputation?
So Scorpion, I want to hear your thoughts on. Did you get to watch last week's ATV?
Yes, I did.
Okay, give me your analysis of last week's versus this week's. Did you like this one better? Do you think it's improvement? Did they have more work? What's your analysis on how you feel about the whole situation?
So that's a great question.
I
So
know, I'm a great question asker.
yeah. So anyway, so last week's ATV was extremely short, really like 4 minutes and something, right? 4 minutes and 40 seconds,
Including
or something.
intro and outro, yes.
Including intro and outro, right? And it was by and large just a short kind of recap of kind of the 3.2 release, right? Which you would kind of expect coming right on the heels of a 3.2 release, right? There's not much there. The devs are still kind of coming off the release, and they haven't started doing things yet. And so I was kind of cool with that. So I was like, all right, fine.
Even though Disco shot that whole theory in the dark right there.
I know.
He ruined it. He was like, oh, we don't have recovery episodes. We planned for all this. I'm like,
Yeah,
why do you say that?
We all know better.
Yeah, exactly.
We all know better, right? Because we've been around for a long time. So I was cool with that. I was really curious to see what was going to happen this week, and it was still really short. They talked about 3.2 and the 3.2.1 stuff that's going on, which I thought was good, and they also talked about some of the stuff that's coming in 3.3. I'm not sure if we're getting the same level of stuff we were getting before when Ricky was given the updates on what's going on, but I think it definitely was moving more in that direction of trying to kind of cover down on that stuff. So I was pretty happy with the transition. I'm going to give them another week or two to see kind of where it ends up, but I thought it definitely moved in the right direction from my standpoint.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Uber, how about you before you freeze again? What was your analysis between what do you feel about last week's ATV? How do you feel about this week's? And then comparison, do you feel like they're on the right track? What was your overall sweeping feelings about it?
I like the ATVs that this one was a little bit more information, although I still think that the at least what I saw from what Rickley Jutley was giving us in the initial ATV kind of burst of information, I like those better. I felt that they were more informative. I really liked a good ATV that uses that kind of format, that gives us that kind of information and does it within about 10 minutes would be fine to me. But I'm not I guess last week's was too short, didn't give us enough information to go on or to okay, really at least give us some more pictures, good looking stuff, none of this okay, we did this, we did that, we pushed some buttons, we're done, see you next time. Like, oh, come on. I was a little disappointed. This week's was better, and I did like them showing off that they're working on the apartments, the living spaces for Hurston, I guess is what it was. Although one of the ones that I looked at in the ATV, you look out the window, that's ArcCorp, right? Out the window of one of those is ArcCorp. If you see the shape of the window, I remember going into Area 18, and I would always look up and say, "Hey, see those windows up there? That looks like what could be apartments for players." There were more than 50. Yeah, there were more than 50 of these windows that were shaped like this. Anyways, they had this like upside down kind of half pyramid shape to them. They're pretty cool. And anyways, so the picture from that was like apartments, and I would love if you chose to always wake. You landed at at Hurston, or you landed at Lorville, or you landed in ArcCorp Area 18 or Area 17 or wherever you chose, that you would be able to like pay rent or something and wake up in one of these places instead of just in this little teeny hab unit. So that excited me mostly about that.
All right. Luke, what do you think?
Huh?
What do you think about the differences in the ATVs?
I don't think a lot. I think that they're moving in the right direction. The first one was pretty bad, but we all expected it. The second one, this week's was had some information. I really think that they will bring back more information as they move forward. I still think that we're in the side effect of when you move from one epic to another, when you're like moving from like one set of like, they released 3.2, and they're going to spend the first few weeks really ramping up. So I don't think they have a lot to show at the moment, truthfully. So that's why we're having short ATVs. It has less to do with the new format and more to do with they're not gonna make long ATVs for the sake of having long ATVs. They're gonna make the ATVs long enough to show the content they want to show. And I think right now there's just not a lot of content to show.
I'm gonna kind of disagree with that, but I think this is the
You're
new
wrong.
format.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I think this is the new format, and I agree. I didn't like the last one, especially since Disco kind of put the nail in the coffin with the whole that we know how to prepare. This is what it's gonna. I'm like, dude, you don't double down when it's not received well by the community. It just doesn't make sense to double down and be like, no, we know how to plan for this stuff. And I'm like, I would have been like, we're always light right after we do a build. I don't know what you're expecting. It's been the same way for every year. That's the way it is. They should just let it ride with that. But this last ATV, I think, was perfect. I am fine with them being 8 minutes, 9 minutes long, as long as they structure it. I was a little worried the first minute and a half where they go, where they're like, hey, 3-4. I'm like, oh, don't you do it, Chris. Don't you do it. And then they were all like, but then they started talking immediately about the PTU. And I'm like, this is good. Because they're talking about something that was different from the last one, that was relevant right now, what's happening in the PTU this week. I'm like, cool. Yeah. I'm like, that's a little better. And then they went into 3.3. I'm like, that's perfect. They don't need to go deeper than that, because what I'm hoping they're going to do, because Chris even said at the end of this ATV, he's like, thank you for subscribing. Stay with us because we got new video content coming. I think they're going to break out the featurettes for those specials we want to see on the subjects, on the things. They won't be an ATV. It's going to be. I don't like the featurettes
idea though.
But they're going to do it.
But I don't like the idea. First of all, two things. Like one, I think that you didn't technically disagree with me, so we're pretty good there.
A little bit.
No. So I never said that this wasn't the new format. This is the new format for ATV, and I agree with it. What I'm saying is that this format is fluctuating in size and scope, right? They show what they have, they don't make it.
I don't think they're going to increase it though when they have more. I think they're going to make featurettes.
Yeah, so I'm not arguing against that, but the reason I dislike the featurette idea, although I understand that the featurettes are more digestible from a YouTube perspective and have more rewatchability, so it's probably a smart move in that regard. For those of us who are hardcore,
By the way, next week's SpaceBro show is going to be 4 minutes long. Go ahead.
Okay. I guess I won't be on that show.
Neither will I. We'll just have the logo come across and Uber and Scorpion go. And that's it.
I'll just look at the screen a little bit.
Yeah,
it'll just be Dr. Drones.
Dr. Drones. We'll have Dr. Drones, Scorpion, and Toy on, and they'll just go and go off camera, and that'll be the end of it.
But the thing for us hardcore followers of the Star Citizen, universe, all that jazz, is that it's dependability. Every Thursday, I'm gonna see some amazing videos of stuff that's going on in the verse. I don't want to go, are they going to come out with something today? What about today? What about today? Now, every day I'm waking up going, I'm stressed. Are they going to release some really cool, amazing video of the gameplay? Whereas when I had every Thursday, I was like, okay, I had my ATV for the week. Next Thursday, I'm going to get more ATV and life's going to be good. So I'm worried about the lack of dependability on scheduling those featurettes. If we knew we were getting a featurette every Thursday, I'm fully on board with the idea. Or every Friday, or whatever day they want to choose, or every other Thursday, as long as I knew what day it was coming out.
Yeah, because I'm hoping the featurette will come on Wednesdays. Tuesday or Wednesdays, and I would like that. That I feel like, think of the flow of that. Thinking about starting out with calling all days.
Now that they don't have Bug Smashers, they gotta fill something in that.
Which I am glad that here, and you guys are gonna. Some people are gonna hate me in this, but listen to me all the way. I am glad they got rid of Bug Smashers, and this is why. Because Mark doesn't have time to do it. And as much as I appreciate all the other guys who stepped in to do it, the only person I enjoyed watching doing Bug Smashers was Mark. Because he was good at it. Everybody else tried, and I appreciate their efforts, but it wasn't as good. It wasn't as good. When Mark did Bug Smashers, I was entertained, and it was good. He just had that nice flow to it. But the other people, it was just okay. It was just okay. And I think rather than just let it, hey, we'll find somebody else to do Bug Smashers instead of Mark, just let it go for right now. And I think that was a smart move on their part. So nobody lynch me, but that's just my opinion.
Well, I mean, yeah, I agree. I liked Bug Smashers a lot. You know, I was sad to see it go. So, yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right.
It's that if Mark Abent's not on it, then yeah, maybe it was time for it to go.
To me, it's much like having. I'm trying to think of a different show. I'm thinking if you didn't have 10 for, it's like when they tried same thing they tried to do with 10 for the chair, right? They struggled forever. Chris couldn't do it. He didn't have time, so they had 10 for the devs and 10 for all this. And some were okay, but a lot of them were just, you could tell were filler, where they had like, oh, we're going to do 10 for the lighting guys, 10 for the janitor, 10 for the parking lot attendant. And I was just like, I get it, but you know, I want everybody to know I appreciate him over at CIG, but it's not going to get the same type of thing as talking to Chris. And it's like, if you want to do that stuff, you need to change the show, drop that one and do that. And that's what they've done. And I think it's smart. I think it's smart that way.
Yeah. Well, and so on Bug Smashers, I think Bug Smashers came about at a time when there weren't as many releases going on. So it was another way for them to show us what was kind of happening behind the scenes with them kind of smashing bugs and stuff. And it was Mark, so it was kind of cool. But yeah, I think we're kind of past that time at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I really want to see? I want to see them give a weekly show to Jay Lee. Like,
Me too.
Jay Lee once a week. Jay Lee comes on and I don't know.
Does characters of people?
Yeah, characters of Jared over and over again.
Of Jared, that'd be good.
I think what they should do, they should make it like that, like what was it, Captain Obvious, or you know the greatest man in the world, or something like that. Make a commercial with Jay Lee.
I grew up in the '80s, so or should I say, I finally came to this.
We're not going to do Spuds McKenzie commercials, Uber.
No, it's Jay Lee and the Bear.
Jay Lee and the Bear. It'd be perfect. Jay Lee just comes on. He's like, and today we're going to draw something magical. And it's like, draw something in like 30 seconds. He's like, voila. And then it's like we go on. It's like perfect.
And then a live bear comes on and chases him off the,
I've seen Disco chase him around, so I think that's it's about
Disco
the same.
In a bear suit.
Yeah, it's about.
I know that maybe they don't have the insurance or the time to actually get
liability and all. All right, let's get into round of verse. It's not long, but it does have some good things real quick. So
we're in the ATV.
Yeah,
we made it.
Yeah, we're into. Hey man, I'll tell you what, CIG, you might have took out Uber Nerd. You won't stop the SpaceBro show though. I can stretch 30 seconds into 4 hours. So we'll do a frame by frame analysis. I'll tell you. So what do you guys think of this intro frame? No, I'm just kidding. So
wait, how did you take me out?
Well, I don't know.
You said you may have taken out Uber Nerd.
Yep. I've taken him out. Just slightly. God, they make turns look like so good right there. Out of
context. What, I don't see anything. What are you talking about?
You don't see anything? I'm trying to get to the part.
Wrong scene.
You're in the wrong scene, dude. Pro streamer.
Oh. Here at Space Bros, we only have professional streamers.
So I realized that I guess I'm not the only dad whose daughter calls him dude.
Oh my gosh. I can't, I sat there.
Dude. It's like,
the funniest thing about this is I watched this again because we were talking about in the show at the end, and we'll show you guys in a minute that when Chris and Sandy's daughter's on there, and she said, they're like, don't correct, dude. And I sat there and I came in here And I was talking to chat, and I was like, yeah, my daughter would never say that. So when I was off the air, I brought Chloe in here, and I played that for her, and she's like, who's that? I'm like, that's his daughter, and she's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe she said that to him. I was like, yeah, because that wouldn't fly with me. She's like, I would never say that to Daddy. And then she walked out. She's like, to your face. I'm like, oh! I was like, get out of here. I was like, gosh, the attitude's real. The attitude is real.
That's great.
So, she loves to troll me like that. Yeah. So they talked originally just about the mining and stuff, and that was cool. Where's the good scene? Spline jumps are awesome. We get that.
Yeah, they've actually made it a lot better. I was doing some of that today, and they're so much better.
And this is what you guys were both talking about. I really want to be able to simulate this, where you're getting the quantum, right? The quantum linking.
Yep.
And then they don't show anybody coming out at the same time. I'm like, I want to come out at the same time. Because I bet they couldn't get it to work exactly like that either.
Again,
Probably.
you have to pick a small target in order for it to more ships. Because when it's a planet that you're targeting, it's such a big area. They just like, we can put them anywhere.
How do you guys feel about the turret gameplay right now?
Haven't tried it yet.
Really?
It's a little difficult.
It's
Still,
do you feel like it's going in the
broken?
right direction? Do you feel like it's,
no,
you know?
no.
No.
Can
That-
you hear me now?
Yeah, you can't hear Uber because Uber does one of these, and then he leans way back here away from his microphone, and then he
Yeah.
comes back up, and he's like, hey, guys.
Yeah.
It's Uber
How you
ASMR
doing?
time.
Yeah, he's like, hi, guys, I'm Uber Nerd. I'm going to talk to you real quiet.
Oh, no, not that. So
Yeah.
I
Sounds
got
like
into
ASMR,
I got
yeah.
into the I got into the turret of a hurricane, and we did we tried that out. It's a little difficult, but then again, the pilot was not used to flying a turreted ship. I still say that if you get a pilot who knows how to position the ship properly, with the idea that, hey, I got guys in turrets, they need to see, instead of trying to be a dogfighter, they properly do that. And I think a lot of the ships now don't move as fast anymore, so you're not going to have the same issue that you had when the Constellation was as maneuverable as a Hornet. You know what I'm saying? So, but that being said, the Super Hornet does have a turret, right? The Hurricane is a small ship with a turret. You've got, your Cutlass Black is a small ship with a turret, and all of the pilots are dogfighters, and so they're going to dogfight. They're going to turn. They're gonna, they're gonna get into combat. They're gonna turn all around. They're gonna, and it just makes it really difficult. I won't be able to tell you too much about my experience with turret gameplay until we can get a pretty big battle going with maybe us in Caterpillar turrets, Starfarer turrets, big ship turrets. Once I start to get the feel for that, I might be able to have a better idea about turret gameplay, because I don't think it's fair to judge the turret gameplay from that of you're sitting in the back of a Super Hornet.
I never really thought the gameplay for small fighters with turrets versus other fighters with turrets ever made any sense to me. It just didn't. It's like hard to track and all that.
That's true.
It just
But
makes
I
sense.
disagree with you, Uber Nerd, to a degree. For example,
Of course you do.
Of course I do. Yeah. No, so I don't think that the bad turret gameplay has anything to do with people flying. I mean, yeah, maybe not any. It has some impact because of them flying like dogfighters, but like maybe a lot. But like I've done tests, and now obviously I'm not a great fighter in the game. I'm not whatever, but in my experiences, I've had people fly in straight lines, strafe running in, whether I'm in a Hurricane or other ships, and it's hard to hit not just fighters, but even mid-sized to large ships with turrets. And it's because of the way they behave. I think that, at least when I use a mouse and keyboard, maybe there's a better way. Maybe using a joystick controller or something else is the better method. And so if that's the case, chat, let me know.
Xbox controller
Yeah,
should
maybe, maybe. But with mouse and keyboard, I am of the mindset right now that the control setup for it is fundamentally broken, and the only way to fix it is to go ground up, redesign how you interface and interact with turrets. I don't know what that is. I'm not going to say like that I have the answer specifically, but I think that turrets, it's not about polishing the turrets. I think they have to go back down.
direct neural
Ground up.
implants.
Yeah. but like they have to redesign how you interact with turrets. I feel like,
and people are going to hate me for saying this too, but I think the turrets, if you want them to remain on the ships they're on, especially the smaller ships, it needs to be 1-to-1. They need to have 1-to-1 latency. Not the motion tracking with the big mechanized stuff. And especially on the fighters, right? It's like, I know people don't agree with me on this, but I just don't. I feel like if I could actually just aim as fast as I can move, at least on the small ships, it makes sense. I understand, like on a javelin, maybe not. It's like a destroyer where you have to kind of orient your turret and do that sort of thing on the big guns. But the smaller guns, I really feel like they should be almost 1-to-1. It'd fix a lot of issue because that mechanized latency they're trying to simulate, like you're pivoting the turret, it can't move as fast as your mouth, it drags behind. Then you also have the pip and everything else. I feel like they're always going to just feel off. They're always going to be that way when you're trying to move these zippy fighters. They can reduce the speed as much as they want. It's always going to be that way as long as you make the fighters maneuverable enough to be able to get away and act the way they should.
Well, and given the fact that we have thrusters that output immense amount of thrust to be able to make these big ships move the way they do, don't we think we can get the turrets to move at pretty much 1-to-1 speed in the future? Like, it makes no sense that they have. It just seems like it doesn't make sense to have that artificial delay put in there.
Yeah.
Because apparently we can't make the machines work fast enough to be able to cover it. And also it's completely counter to the role model for this, which is the Millennium Falcon and other things like that, where they're literally following ships right with this turret. So I don't know.
Well, I think that at least, from what I could tell, that the oh shoot, now what's the new basically turret ship coming up in
Hammerhead.
The Hammerhead. So I think that the turrets, the way that they are almost separate from that, are a little very similar to, if you look at the way that the Millennium Falcon has its turrets, they're kind of free floating in there a little bit. And but the turrets that are in most of the ships right now are fairly restrictive in terms of their movement. I especially do not like. I think they need to change the turret in the Connie, or just get rid of the bottom one. I mean, that's almost impossible to have any kind of good gameplay in that turret. So
yeah, I think the big ones the turrets will shine when we get to larger ships because they'll be used as what they're supposed to be. You have a large platform, the ship's not really maneuvering to fight against. It'll almost feel like it's a stationary fixed turret on the ground or something for you to operate, I feel like. Because when you're on a Jav, even if it's a smaller point defense weapon, the fighters will have to streak across. You'll be able to kind of gun them down, and it'll feel the way that most turrets were actually used, even in World War II, mostly on large ships. So there's very few, besides when we got out of the biplanes, that they were used because the planes got too fast to use little machine gunners on the back of them to really track stuff.
I still feel that the turrets on ships the size of the Constellation should not be manned turrets, but they should be like the turrets that are on the 600i, and that
they do operate better that way.
Yeah, but not only should they not be where you get into it, you still feel like you're in the turret, at least for that size. Hammerhead turrets aside, those should be a man in the turret. I like that. But if you get down to the size where they're smaller, I think that you should be able to have a screen and be able to have a radar image of the area of space you're in, and just click on the targets you want and say, okay. And then you manage the heat, you manage the ammo, you manage all of those parts of the turret. You see, oh crap, it's overheating. And you're like, hey, you guys got to send more, you guys are taking too much of the coolers. I can't, the turrets are overheating too often. And, so you have to cooperate with different crew members to try to make sure that so you're managing the turrets, but remotely, for small ships. The bigger your ship, yes, you get people in those. I think that'd be a cool idea. But I think that the smaller turrets need to go that direction.
Yep, absolutely. I agree. So, but I also don't want them to rework every ship for it. I know they're going to be adding in the mechanics where there's certain ships going to have blades in them for AI turrets and stuff like that. I'm hoping, in addition to AI turrets, maybe they'll have a blade that makes it a remote turret.
Well, if you look
Wouldn't that
at
be cool?
the constellations and the cutlasses that we're fighting now, the AI, they're actually now as you fly past them, the turrets are like targeting you, and you can see them as you fly past. The turrets are turning towards you, and I think that's pretty cool. I feel that is, once we get into 3.3, at what point do we get to hire henchmen and just say, look, nobody wants to play in the turrets of the smaller ships, but I'd like to hire a guy to, an NPC to be my turret gunner, I don't know. I'd like to see that come sooner than.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, let's get FPS AI in there where they can shoot at us before we hope they're smart enough to like work for us.
Hey, they're in the turrets already of the AI that we're flying past.
They are. But the funny thing is, when I board the NPC ships, the guy just stays in the turret like, I've just killed your captain. Yeah, I know. I'm good. He just stays up there. He's going to stay in that turret up there.
I know.
We stole a caterpillar today. We boarded it, and went in there. And I love how the pilot in the caterpillar is like in plain clothes. Like he would be. He's not wearing a spacesuit. He was just chilling there in his jacket and his pants. He's like, hey, bro. Yeah, I'm just driving this caterpillar. I'm like, well, you were just shooting at me, so just come up, kill him. And unfortunately, none of my guns work, so I had to beat him to death with a railgun. But either way, it worked out good. Took the ship, drove it back to Port Ollie. The only thing I would ask that be added in sooner or later is, like, can we, when we take a ship, like, sell the cargo? That would be nice. Because right now you can't.
Hey,
you take a ship full of cargo and you can't.
There's a lot of things coming. I don't know. Let me tell you something.
Surely it's just a couple button clicks, though. I mean, just just click a couple buttons and it should just work, right? It's just the way that stuff goes.
Hey, do the turret gunners actually fight for you when you take a ship?
No, they just he kind of just sat there the rest of the time, like he's like, he's up there probably calling his wife, like, well, honey, I hate to tell you this, but I'm probably screwed now. Matachi took over the ship, and if you notice me in this turret.
Hey, did you guys see the controversy that took place in the comments below the video when they showed that when Chris was talking about the spar? Here is a spar across this view screen, and then look, no more spar, and then down below it's like still too much.
Oh my god. Yeah, people
are never happy.
I know.
Hey, Jinx.
The one thing I would say about if they're going to change crossbars and stuff, and I know they just reworked the Aurora, let's give the new guy, like the new people to come in, the best view they can in these new ships. They're already not real whoop-de-doo. They're not super tough.
Right. The Mustang is one of the best views.
It does now, and it's like, well, so people are like, whoa, Mustang or Aurora. I'm like, well, do you want to see the game? Because if you want to see the game, Mustang all day. Or you'll just be flying the Aurora in F4. That's just kind of how that will work. But yeah, I definitely encourage people to, if you want to choose a starter pack, get the Mustang.
Yeah, and the new Mustang's coming out in 3.3. So,
yep.
My daughter has a beta, so she's very excited about that. She said she's not going to play until they get girls in the game.
I love that protest from people. It's like, I'm not playing to this girls. I'm like, okay. It's like, I'll still kill them when they're girls too in the game. If they play girl avatar, I'll still like, oh, who was that? I don't know. It was a prospector. It exploded, made a pretty boom. I don't really care. Like, I'm an equal opportunity murderer, I guess, in the game. I saw they were doing more mocap here for stuff. I can't wait to see some more life out of the NPCs and variation, even the counter people a little bit, but a little less dialogue. What do you guys think about the dialogue on the shopkeepers? I think it's.
I mean, they're too repetitive. Yeah, it's like we got some new stuff in the shop.
Yeah,
and actually, by the way,
that's a good choice.
They've been saying that forever, and 3.2 is the first time it was true. I was like walking around the shop, like, we got some new stuff in the shop. I was like, you actually do have some new stuff in the shop today.
We had a great clip when that gassy Mexican was playing with us, and he was down, and we were over there at Grimhex, and he was shopping. And the opposite of Port also, the Grimhex shopkeeper stands there, and he like gives you attitude. He's like,
buy something, get out.
Buy something, or get out. And Gassy just went ape shit on him, and like that's like, hey, I'm looking at this $3,000 cat, just like just went crazy. It's like, I just spent like about a whole space tube from you. It was great. It was good. So it's just like so much attitude and just repetitiveness. I mean, you know, you kind of have fun with it and play out the NPCs, but God, you don't want to be in there long trying to figure it out. It gets really annoying.
No, yeah, it's too repetitive. I'd like them to say, "Hey, we got some new stuff in here. If you got any questions, just ask," and then go quiet. Right?
Yeah.
No.
And it, you know, and at that, and if you had any questions, it'd be nice to go and say, "Hey, do you have?" You know, you could go up to them, hover over them, and like you can with the guy who gives missions or says, make a delivery or do a pickup. You could say, inquire about inventory. Say, "Hey, are you going to be ever carrying?" And then it'll say, "Hey, are you going to be carrying any?" And then it'll give you a list, and you could
Can
say,
I pre-order this? Do you guys sell gift cards?
Yeah.
Like after
and then
the
they
game,
can say, "Nope, we're never going to carry that," or "Yeah, that might come in sometime."
Yeah.
I think after the game releases for full fidelity, what they're going to have is they're going to use the face over IP thing, and they're going to have the developers then play the role of these shopkeepers, so that when you actually walk up to them, you're literally talking to a person who is one of the former developers. Yeah, because they're going to need new jobs then after it's all done, and then they'll just do that, and it'll just work, and then they can fully engage with you, and you can ask those questions.
Yeah, and you'll be like, AI is so good in this game.
Or like when they remember you, like you go back to get more ammo, and you've always been at this hub, and they're like so their answer like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" You're like, "Hey, Sally, what's been going on?" You know, and they tell you a little backstory about like, yeah, you know, the kids have been good in school and stuff, but Jack, he's still a real big jerk. He's just, you know, it's like what, you know, a whole little story developed there. It'd just be cool to see that iterate over time and all that stuff. So this kind of, and I, again,
Mumbai call center. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. This again, I am not a super fan of the 890, but when I saw these screens, it got me a little excited to see it. Because I just like the 600i, I think is cool to see.
But why are you not a fan of all these really cool luxury ships?
You want me to be honest about it? You want me to be honest about it?
He's just a fan of being the pirate.
I think they're irrelevantly expensive. And I understand the word luxury and all that stuff. I just think they're way too much money for their purpose.
They have to be expensive to keep people from buying. If there was like 1,000, like if everybody had one, then
are you saying like there's some ship in here that really keeps people from buying it? Because I don't feel like I don't know,
money high expense. You're not buying because you think it's too much money for the value. That's
I'm in the minority of people in those regards. So I've talked to people who have bought this ship who literally just like, "Oh yeah, I melted everything to get the 890." I'm like, "You melted all your fleet to get the 890?" Yeah.
Some people, like, I know some people are into it, but you have to understand this is the hardcore group of Star Citizen followers who are in the street.
I know.
Most of the community is not represented here. We are the fringe, and two, like
it's a beautiful ship, though. I mean, even cuckoo. Yeah, but it's a beautiful layout here. What's going to be, and you see elements of what you see obviously in the 600i, because 600i is almost like a palette for the ship, you know.
Yeah.
In a way.
I'm just thinking if I can fit a Grey Cat in there.
You could probably fit a snub fighter through that.
No,
doorway.
I can, but I have to get. How do I get in there? Like, can I get a Grey Cat into that room? And if so, then can I drive?
Let's do the frame by frame analysis on the frame, the hollow outside of the not near complete. Beautiful, amazing 890 jump.
So what did you guys think about the? Are they going to show this? What they did about the? What are we talking about? You're just doing a loop there, right?
A little bit, but yeah, we'll go to the next thing. But right down here, I mean, that's what 1, 2, 3, 4 floors.
Yeah, 4 decks. It's a big ship. It's a cruise. It's a small
luxury cruise ship yacht thing.
I like the idea of that, especially, you know, if they have like a bunch of staterooms where you know, you could have not just a single dignitary, like I
do like what the module for the 600i they showed, right? The touring one where you can swap it out and you can get like 4 extra passenger rooms and stuff. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah. I was disappointed when the 600i came out and everybody, you know, the captain gets their own room. That's cool to me, but then the rest of them have to share
But it looks like a damn sauna. I mean, share the steam room, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. 890 is not a 890 is not a capital size ship. It's not a capital ship. I don't think.
It would get close to, I'd say, sub-capital size, though. I think, I don't know how big it is compared to the Polaris.
Well, we don't know because they haven't. I don't think they announced new specs, right? Because like we assume it's growing, and they haven't announced.
It is bigger. I think they said it's around. Somebody was saying something like 150 feet long now.
Meters, you mean?
Meters.
150 meters is incredibly long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's still not capital-esque, right?
The,
like, what is Idris is like 200-ish.
240, isn't it? 200. The Idris is 200.
I don't know. I know they consider the Polaris is like almost like a subcap, right?
Well, yeah, it's a what is it? It's like a, I don't know what it is, but yeah, it's not a capital ship, right?
It's 158 meters.
It's a Corvette.
Kind of size, right? Yeah, Corvette. Yeah, exactly.
It's basically replacing the size ship that the Idris used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't they say that like the Reclaimer is a small capsize ship?
It depends on how you define cap. I don't know. We're defining it ourselves.
I
in
don't.
My mind, it's not capital.
Ship as anything except for military. If it's not military, it's not capital.
I kind of, and everybody has their own idea. I don't know. The question would be, how does CIG define a cap? Because we all have our own ideas. Because if you base it on size, you could argue that it's a capital salvage ship on the Reclaimer. If I base it, though, like I mentally do, on purpose and crew size, the Reclaimer's not a cap ship. It's just a huge, like an oil rig. It might be massive, but it doesn't require a huge amount of people to operate it. You know, you can have a skeleton crew and do it.
If I were going to roughly describe maybe what I think a capital ship is by definition, it's a ship that's large enough that it could be seen or powerful enough that it could be seen as the primary ship of a fleet, and a fleet being of a reasonable size, you know what I mean? Like 15, 20 ships kind of a thing, right? So it's like, would a Polaris be the primary ship of a fleet? Like, you know what I mean? That's like 15, 20 ships, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that could be a reasonable.
Yeah, and like Barrel's saying in chat, he says, but the Polaris is bigger than the Reclaimer, Matachi. And that's our point, though. They're saying they don't... Originally, the Polaris is considered a subcap, but yet people have called the Reclaimer a cap. So if that's the case, then the Polaris would have to be a capital if you're basing solely on size of the ship. You know, but the Polaris also has over twice the amount of crew, because I based the crew complement on the number of beds you have. And you only have 5 beds in a Reclaimer.
Right.
You could definitely have a lot more stations than that, but it would the scrubbers for the O2 scrubbers and everything else, that wouldn't support a larger crew than the number of beds they have, generally speaking, from what I recall. So there's a lot of those elements there that, you know, they just kind of, I don't know. It gets confusing because every time when you quote the stats pages, everybody's always like, well, the stat pages aren't quite right. And I'm like, so I'll go off what I've heard and what the last things they've said is. But this ship's gonna be beautiful when it's done. I can't wait. And I love how Chris is like, hey, if you didn't like the 600i being luxury, just wait for this one, guys, because you're really gonna hate this. You know?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah. It's gonna be a good like nightclub ship for parties.
Yeah. I'm just gonna rob the crap. I mean, visit and have a good time.
Yeah, visit them. It'll be a trap. It'll be a good honeypot ship to draw in the really bad pirates like Matachi, and then we surround you.
Surround me and give me champagne. I'll love it. It's like, hey, we will surround you with our dance.
It's probably going to be a ship. A lot of these luxury ships will end up being like bait.
Or they'll just have really badass rich people on them, and they'll have the military support where if you mess with that guy, you know you're gonna have a bounty that's like insane on your head. You know, it's like, oh, you might get him right now, but man, you ain't gonna walk out of here with your legs.
People who lose it, they'll be like, oh well, they just took my 890.
I'll just take my other 890.
My other 890.
I'll just undock it now. Sorry.
I was just having it waxed. So
yeah. No, I do plan on collecting every ship in the game, but most of them I plan on earning as a goal in game. For the money, because I do want to have them all. Why not? You know,
collect them all.
I ended, you know, the VAT. Like I still buy ships, but not nearly as frequently as I used to.
I can't. I buy it to give away to these guys, but I can't.
I do that too.
Yeah, I can't afford them anymore. I just don't. I don't have the money to do it. But like I've been it's gone from the days of like, now I mull over, do I have the money to get a Vulture for myself? I don't know, and it's like one of the cheaper purchases I would have made a year ago. Yeah. It's like, it's like last year, like, oh, should I get the Polaris or I don't know. And then it's like, now it's like, I don't know, man, if I got $100 to do that.
It's like, wait, so how many 890 jumps should I buy? Let's see, 1 or 2 or
it's like, does anybody got an Argo I can borrow? It's like, yeah. But I have to comment quickly on the artwork inside of what they did on the touring version of
awesome.
It's beautiful. This is great. When we have FOIP in, I can just picture, like, I don't know, maybe it's from playing with Burke and then Gassy and them, but it's like I just picture like RP sessions that'll be hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And I am not an RPer, but I want to do it so bad now.
You know what my favorite part about this the touring version here?
What's that?
The stairwell.
The staircase.
You don't have to take an elevator between the top and the bottom.
So
anymore.
beautiful. Now as long as we don't fall through that stair.
It's functional. It's beautiful, sure, but it already makes the touring version more functional in a lot of ways than the Explorer version, because you actually don't have to take an elevator up and down the midsection.
I don't know where the hot tub's at.
Is it supposed to have one?
I don't know. Bear says, "Where's the hot tub?"
You would think it's in the Phoenix.
You would think it should have a hot tub. Wouldn't it be cool if the couches dropped down and it turned that whole middle section a little like pool? That'd be badass. But yeah, I think that one's only on the Phoenix I know of.
I think it should have like a money pool where you like swim through like a pool of gold.
Scrooge McDuck.
Yeah.
Scrooge McDuck.
Oh yeah. I still don't know how I feel about this ship, the Banu Defender, where it takes like dual pilots to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to see it. I know Toy was super hyped about this when he went all in on it. I was like,
it'll be a cool NPC ship, like to fight against and to like make the universe cool, but to fly it yourself, maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big fan of any of the alien ships, honestly. Like, I'm not like, they're cool to look at, and I'll probably like see them, but I don't collect them.
I will collect them in game because they say it's gonna be super hard to. That's why I want to get them in game, because it's gonna be a challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, one ship I love is the Cartual Scout. I love flying that thing. The Cartual is amazing. I have no practical purpose to own the ship whatsoever, but I think it's a beautiful ship, and it's really fun to fly.
Yeah. The Blade, such a pretty little ship, and it is fun to fly as well. It's pretty zippy. It's I like the Blade a lot.
Holy shit!
What?
Champion?
Oh, jeez!
Holy shit! Holy crap,
holy
dude!
Smokes, dude!
That's insane, bro.
Well, I'm speechless. I mean, I can't say a word.
I don't know.
I'm sitting here unable to speak.
I'm gonna have to start my TwitchCon fund. Maybe I will go to TwitchCon this year. It's like, and Champion funded my TwitchCon trip.
How somebody says they're speechless and then I continue to talk.
Holy crap!
It's like a contradiction.
I don't even know what to say, bro. Thank you so much,
dude,
man. That is insane. I don't even know. What were we talking about? Like, jeez. Holy crap, man.
Oh my god. I had to put out.
I might have to call the artist and get him to make a even. You know that emote I had you make? Might need to put some gold on that, like plating.
Gold
like,
trim.
Something. Holy crap, bro. Oh my gosh. Yes, we're gonna have fun at CitizenCon. I'm trying to think, like, because I told everybody, is like, guys, this year I can't make it over to TwitchCon or anything like that. So now we're actually going to be able to not only hopefully fund that, maybe I actually will go to TwitchCon instead of just CitizenCon.
Bro,
I will invest it well in the community and the channel, sir.
Sakes.
Thank you so much, buddy. That's incredible. Thank you so much, man. I don't know what to say.
Very cool.
That's so cool, dude.
That is cool. It's awesome.
Thank you for ruining the SpaceBro show with all the amazing gifts, dude. I'm like, I'm so sidetracked. It's
YouTube's gonna be like,
I'm like making notes here so I can stay on target, and Champion's just like destroying my mind. It's like, that's crazy, man. It's just like, oh my god.
It's a cool supporter.
Oh,
So
no. I gotta have a conversation with Champion off the air, man. Thank you, buddy. That was awesome. That's crazy.
So what were we? Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there's something about some space game we played together. I don't know. So Hurston. So I guess we're at the Hurston part here, where he's talking about Hurston coming in, those elements there. The hangers and stuff are awesome. I don't know what to say anymore. I really don't. He's like,
guys, are we going to be getting our hangers in the verse? I mean, they kind of stopped doing anything with the hangers that we have in the game, right? We no longer have the display hangers that, I mean, have you guys logged into any of the hangers?
Not recently, no.
Okay, they peg my GPU to like 100%, and the performance inside the hangars are god awful. So basically, there's no reason to go to the hangars anymore. But then again, we can go into the verse and see all of our ships. The only thing we don't get is all the hangar flare and all the cool stuff. But that stuff should decorate. That stuff should decorate your domicile or hangar on a planet. And I was hoping that, as we move closer to getting like Hurston and then ArcCorp into the game, that we would be able to say, have our hangar be represented, like to be able to say, hey, I want to have my hangar on Hurston or on ArcCorp, right? And that they would be able to incorporate those into the map. That's what I'd like to see them go to, because then we wouldn't have to have these hangar modules anymore.
Yeah, I think that's still a ways off, and it's odd too, because it felt like at one point, I forget when, but it felt like at one point that it was really close to that happening, right?
I know, right?
Yeah, like around the time when the tutorial came out, it felt like it was getting closer where that was going to happen, and I'm not sure what happened in between there, but obviously it's a ways off at this point, I think.
Yep.
But you don't talk about it.
Yep.
So we don't know.
We don't know. And so much tech's got to happen. Even Chris has cautioned us about the amount of tech that has to be in the game for us to even get Hurston, right? Because if we don't get object container streaming, if we don't get those elements in there, it's not going to matter. And if you're watching this on YouTube, a great member of the community, Champion, he's donated a whole bunch of subs and over like $350 on the channel tonight. So if I'm a little bit off, it's blame Champion, but we love him to death because he does help make this show possible, and he helps out a lot of great content creators in the community, some of my favorite ones too. So he's been a very generous individual.
What an amazing cool person.
And I'm glad the alerts aren't going off, because he would have just broke the alert. He's already broke the alerts, and the alerts aren't going off, because I looked over here, I'm like, holy crap, it's like not.
He broke. Well, not only did he break the alert, but he broke you.
He did break me.
You broke Mitachi.
I know. It's like people are like, this is like the only way to get Mitachi to be quiet. I'm like, yeah, I guess that does shut me up right there. It's like, I don't know what else to say.
So now that you've broke Mitachi, now you got to see if you can make him cry.
Oh my god.
We want to see him cry. All right, guys. Let's make
gosh. Cry. All right. Anyway, back on to Hurston.
Oh, you can hear it starting to crackle. Starting to crackle.
There we go. Big hanger. Looks good. It's got balls in it right there. Color mapping balls in it.
Yeah. Balls. You know what those are for, right?
Those are the maps for different luminosity, reflective, and palettes.
Yeah, those are.
They're art balls. Jaylee knows all about this. Tell them about art balls, Jaylee.
Balls. Yeah, there you go.
Art balls.
Those, I think what they use those for is for lighting and shadows and reflectivity, right? So they put them in there to see what the reflections on certain materials would look like, what the shadows and what the lighting would look like, to test out different materials within this lit area. And so they can bring a whole bunch in and say, oh, okay, so this one doesn't look quite right in here, or it's not reflecting properly, or it's not, shadows are not going properly. So, there he is.
Are you guys talking about me? What's going on?
You wish.
It works every time.
I was hungry. I had to go get food.
I understand. I've been doing Weight Watchers, and I'm happy to say I am down an average of about about 7 to 10 pounds now and stuff like that. So went to Costco and I bought a ton of jerky because that on sale. So my wife's like, well, did you get me some? I'm like, yeah, I gave her a bag and I got like 10 packages of jerky for myself. I'm like, this is it. This is all I get anymore. You know, it's like counting points and stuff. But doing that and going to the gym 3 times a week, I feel a million times better.
Yeah,
but,
I need to be more active.
Yeah, but it's like I'm trying to get up. I can almost run again. Almost. I can almost actually run again. And I haven't actually ran like physically for any amount of time more than like maybe a half mile or something like that in probably about 15 years. And it was just, it's just like, holy crap. So it's been really cool to be able to do that and then run outside with my son and do that stuff. So even dropping a little bit, it's like I've been gaining a lot of muscle mass back too. So it's been really good.
Well, I've been sailing a ship on the high seas.
I know, I've seen you do that.
Right now, but,
Well, you have?
He's been out there on the boat with his IRL stuff.
not yet.
Didn't you
Not
do
with
that the
the
other
IRL
day?
stuff.
Do you have your own boat?
I've been out on the boat. No,
He's
I don't
been
have
on
my
the
boat.
boat.
I don't have a boat, but I've been out.
Yeah.
And so this coming up in August, I believe I'm going to be doing with a whole group of kayakers. We're going to go out there on the west side of the island and watch as J-Pod comes through. It's a large pod of whales. And I'm hoping to be able to catch some of because the killer whales, they love to spy hop right next to you. It's where their nose and their eyes come out of the water.
Oh, where they peep out of the water? You call it spy hopping?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to sit there with my RL equipment, checking them out and streaming at the same time going, here we are, right out in the wild. There's a nice big killer whale.
Nice. We're gonna be able to watch like the first time a killer whale's ever attacked a human being in a wild. It's gonna be on your stream.
It's gonna be like Jaws, the new Jaws.
I want to be there.
Yeah. They call it blowhole instead of Jaws or something. It's like, there you go. What do you guys think about the interior rooms here that they're having, like on the, I guess
They're dirty.
Yeah, I mean, I love this. I don't know if this is like a troll or what, but if you look here on this scene, let's see if I can find it here real quick. There's like all this mess, right? It looks like everything looks like a college dorm in this game, except for the luxury ships. But they're right here. This is a bottle of bleach.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It says Clorox. I'm like, all this mess, and the guy's got a whole gallon of bleach sitting on the desk. I'm like, come on, man.
Maybe bleach is for cleaning up like other things like crimes or something.
Blood.
And
Yeah, exactly.
Blood.
I don't know. You can get a DNA sample off that floor as it is. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. No, but like there's this mindset in the way they do art in the game, and I'm not saying it's bad per se, but the idea of in order to make it feel real, they feel like they have to make it feel dirty. Like there's a lot of ways to make a place feel lived in,
So
but not
is that-
dirty. And I don't know why they.
Your OCD. I
I'm
want to
not-
clean, damn it.
Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
You're the kind of
crazy.
person I need to invite to my house. I just that's how I clean my house. I make friends with OCD people and invite them over. Eventually, they'll just sit there and I can't stand it and clean it up.
yeah.
And you're like, here, have a soda.
That leaves a great impression with people.
Yeah.
It's like, come on over. Oh, yeah, I had to clean Uber's house.
Yeah.
So there's one thing I want to show in here. I love how he's just sketched things off people's desks to kind of make things feel lived in here.
Yeah.
But I want to show right there.
The bobblehead.
I want this 3D printed. I'll pay for it if I have to take out a loan. I want that on my desk. That is awesome. That to me is the ultimate. This is the ultimate SpaceBro emblem right there. Like a little blown up head, spaceman, perfect little star. I was like, that is awesome. I've been wanting something like that forever. That's super cool. That's why I want my little SpaceBro logo for our team to be. I want it to be like this type of guy. The bobblehead thing. It looks so cool. Awesome. I'm like, that's amazing. They could do a whole series of this. I would buy these as merchandise, 100%.
So would I.
I would buy these for sure. Yeah, well, not even on the ship. I'm talking physical merchandise. I would order this crap. I would pay money for this. If they had a variant of all the suits like Jay Lee's made, except in a bobblehead version, just as a thing, I would do a whole wall, and I swear to God, I would buy all of them, and I would put them up there because they'd be badass.
Well, you are a nerd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want that so bad.
All nerds would buy them
I know. It's cool.
because we are compelled. Look out that window. That's what I was trying to tell you about. That window, if you look out, that's ArcCorp,
Yep.
right? So this is...
You got to look past
this
his
is-
pants.
Yeah.
I don't see Arcor. What are you talking about?
Out the window.
He's talking about
I'm
the
looking
little.
at it. It looks like an ocean. That's Arcor?
No, it's not an
No, it's
ocean.
ArtCorp out there.
What? It's a building. I don't know if it's ArtCorp for sure.
No, it's ArtCorp because I remember seeing those buildings when I was in
Jay Lee
ArtCorp
is
playing around in Area 18. Yeah, Jay Lee, you got
Jay Lee, is that ArtCorp? Jay Lee?
It is ArtCorp.
Jay Lee. Spoilers, Jay Lee. Tell us.
Tell us now.
Come on, Jay Lee. Oh my god.
Sure. See, I told you right as he typed it. Sure, I get.
Crazy.
He and I, it's like same wavelength. I'm old and weird. He's young and weird. Ta-da!
It's crazy.
Oh, and Xylo's just weird.
Jay Lee, back in your cage.
Never apologize.
I was gonna say, is it Xylo's okay if we have Jay Lee come on and talk about his experience at RTV?
In an unofficial capacity?
In unofficial capacity?
Just as some guy.
Just as some guy?
Just
Frank.
What's his Frank something, right? What was
Frank Rizzo.
Rizzo,
Yes.
Oh my god. Champion's on fire.
She's so cute.
She is super cute.
She's super snarky.
Yeah.
for
it's definitely
what is she,
Sandy's
5?
daughter.
Oh, totally.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can see her just chuckle at him. I was like, I can only imagine the abuse Chris takes at home from all the girls. Like, you know, you got Sandy and the two girls.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh yeah, just deal with it, Chris. Suck it up.
Yeah, I can see that he deals with Sun just as well as I do. It's like, all right, I'm either extraordinarily white or red. There's no other, white or red. I don't get any other colors. There's no tan in my. I got freckles though, but. Oh look, it's the magician himself.
Hey, are we on RTV now?
Woo,
Yep,
we are.
Looks that
RTV.
way.
So
There
look
we
at that.
go.
Help me, Jared has me trapped.
I love it. It was, I like to thank personally CIG for allowing the 1 hour trolling of Disco Lando to take place live on the air on Twitch. It was amazing. It was a beautiful thing. Let's get lots of Jay Lees in chat. Tons and tons of Jay Lees. I love it. It was so good. So good. That being said, I did like the we'll go fast forward here. I did like the concept of this. It actually turned out way better. I thought I knew Jay Lee was going to draw something amazing no matter what. But when he was going after Disco, I was like, oh well, I don't know where he's going to go with this. But it looked so good. I was like, I want to know what everybody. I want to know when he was like scrolling over all these people. Like, was he? Like, what was everybody thinking in the background of the company? Going like, he's got the dude in the Speedo down there, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Look at all those Jay Lees.
Artists have to have all that, I mean, first of all, it's just the human form, and artists draw every little bit, every
little butt,
every butt,
every little butt. That's
every
right.
butt, all three of them.
They draw all their butts.
Yep.
And here's a nice set of butts. I'm gonna draw them now.
It looks so good, man. I like. Oh man, it's got so much reference. It's like
Disco. Jared, can I show the mugshots?
Yeah, is it okay if I bring in the family pictures and mugshots and stuff?
I thought he was talking about like a Jared's mugshots. I was like, wait, Jared.
I know.
Mugshots?
Yeah, it's
What's
like
going
is
on?
that? Oh my gosh, it was so good.
So that humpback whale that he has jumping out of the water, I saw 2 summers ago. I was on a ferry here, and I saw one do exactly that right behind the ferry.
Yeah,
like,
just
whoa!
do the whole arching back, jump out of the water thing.
Yeah, jumped straight out of the water. I was like, whoa! I didn't, because I didn't know how rare that was. I guess it's not with humpbacks. They love doing that.
I was saying, I don't know if you heard me when you're on the show, Jaylee, where I was talking about how you grow a mustache like I do. That's why I don't. It's like super thin coming in and all that. I'm like, yeah, shave that off. Oh yeah, well, it's not like you're busy doing anything, you know. So I'm sure you missed a lot of chat for various reasons.
Is it me or does Jared look like he's got a beard on? Oh, he didn't have the mustache. He looked Amish there for a second.
Well, the mustache falls back off, and then he does.
He should take the mustache off, and he should, then
See,
then
right
he would
there.
look. Disco would be the Disco the
Father
Amish.
Lando.
Father, yeah.
Father
the
Lando,
Amish
could you please
Look at him, he's
bless this
Amish.
meal? I know. Just gotta get him the hat. He's good to go. Amish Lando. Castro Lando. Yeah, maybe. Little Fidel.
Maybe, yeah.
Fidel Castro Lando. You could do that too. I'm sorry, Jaylee's beard is not. Is that because that's your beard, isn't it, Jaylee? The one you had. I don't
We'll
think
just
that's.
call him.
It's not nearly as thick as what the Lando beard was. It can't even compare.
Well, I guess Jared. We'd have to change his name to Brother Jacob.
Oh my god,
Brother
we gotta
Jared.
get to questions, but Phantom Killer is great. So
Yeah,
he
we
goes,
better get to
I'm
questions.
Disco, and I have some furniture to sell you. It's like some Amish furniture over there. It's
Okay,
like,
chat. No questions.
no questions.
You
I've
can
got a
ask
question for you.
Well, there might not be any
Yeah,
questions.
listen
I
to
haven't
the-
looked, to be honest. There could be.
Yeah.
There could be none. You could be right. But either way, let's go
Scorpion
around the room
stream
like we
release.
always do before I get my brain all melted again. Let's find out when you guys are going to be streaming next, what you're going to be streaming, where they can find you, all that stuff. Let's start with Uber Nerd. When are you going to be streaming
I'm going to be
next?
streaming again tomorrow
Mhm.
and on Sunday. So I start at 9 a.m. usually every morning.
Yep.
So yeah, I just am going to be, and hopefully I might be able to partake with you guys tomorrow afternoon, but I don't know. I have to talk to my customers and see what they're doing. So
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Mr. Luke or The Few. How about you, buddy? What's the
gonna
plan?
stream tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking normally I stream at 11 something, but I'm thinking I'll do like 12:30ish or something, depending on when I wake up.
Yeah.
And I'll start organizing. I'll start bringing people in. We'll start getting people partied up, which will take us a while.
Yeah.
And whatever size of group we get, Mitachi will jump online, not too long afterwards, probably, and we'll try to do some big kind of PvP-ish event.
Yeah, I got to take my dad to the store tomorrow morning, but after that, I should be good.
Okay. And I think Astropub says he might be up for it, depending on stuff. So there might be quite a few people who will jump in to compete and be part
I'll
of the
jump
big
in.
event. So
Yeah, the more the merrier, for sure.
And,
Jaylee should
people in-
jump in.
Yeah, Jaylee, what are you up to tomorrow, man? Should everybody, like anybody in chat as well, like just show up. So I'll do that. I'm not streaming Sunday. And then I should be streaming relatively consistently, I think, next week. But I have to figure out a lot of stuff around the move. So
Yeah.
that'll be happening sooner than
And
later.
just to be
so.
clear, this will be on the live server. We will not be doing it in the PTU, guys, because for a couple reasons, mostly because a lot of people don't have the PTU downloaded for whatever reason. So we're going to be doing it on the live server. Plus, we don't know how long the PTU will be up or if it'll be stable. Like current builds are less stable than what the live is for me today, but it just depends. So definitely make sure that you're up to date and ready on the live server for this. Okay, and last but definitely not least, Mr. Scorpion, what's the plan, my man?
So the plan is to actually be able to keep my weekend schedule. So I stream Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is in roughly-ish, what is that?
6 hours?
6 hours and 40 minutes or so from now. Yeah, so it's cake. I don't need much sleep. So I'll be on, do my normal thing. So tomorrow we'll do some Europe trip stuff, and then lots of Star Citizen. I want to try and download the PTU so I can get in there and try that, but tomorrow I'll probably do, because I'm having issues. It's not sending me the email, so I'll probably do PU tomorrow. And then I was probably going to try and hop in on the big The Few event in the afternoon. And
it's a SpaceBro event.
SpaceBro is this whole
and the rest of the people who are going to be there.
It was all the Fuse idea, you know.
No, really, yeah. No, it's not.
We're like going on over there, okay?
Yeah, go in. That's what's going on.
The big SpaceBro event. We'll
go
with that then. Yeah, I want to try and jump in on that as well, because I'll have time in between when I stop streaming and get some lunch and stuff and do that. So that's kind of the plan right now.
Good.
PT's down at the moment. Last I checked. Oh, thank you, Pengu Lord.
Well, there you go. Thank you. More reasons why we won't use the PTU. How about that?
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Lots of reasons there. Well, we don't have a lot of questions tonight. I know this weekend I'll be obviously playing with all you guys on Saturday. That'll be awesome. I do have some more stuff planned to do a little bit more strumming on Sundays. And then we'll be hitting it hard all next week. Monday, I will not be doing my afternoon show. Just to let people know. I have to go take my father down to the VA for some checkups, CT scans, and all that. And that's an all-day thing, so I won't be on until that night. If anybody's been down to the VA at their local city, they know what that is. So, other than that, it should be a regular week. So, be good. So let's dive into some questions. If you have any you want to try to squeeze in there, guys, exclamation mark questions in chat. We'll get you the forum. We got about 5 so far. If it gets over 10, we're going to cut it off there because I don't want to drag all night. I know Scorpion's got to get up, and our people just want to escape the show at this point.
Hopefully not that bad.
Hopefully not that bad. Hopefully everybody's had fun. I need to go and melt somewhere for a little while in my brain. Ball says, what do you think they'll show at SitCon? Crusader, Microtech? Do you think I think they tease Crusader in the weekly newsletter email. So what do you guys think? I assume he means by Crusader the whole solar system.
No, I think when he says Crusader, I think he means the planet. The actual
planet
gas giant with gas tech, like flying into the planet.
Oh, yeah.
Cloud City style.
Okay. Well, what do you guys think?
Maybe. I think that's a possibility. I was hoping that they would give us Microtech, but Crusader might be more. Yeah, I think Crusader would be more in line with what they're trying to show because, with the coil, right? They're showing off their gas, their cloud tech within the coil. And that cloud tech, isn't that the same that they're working on for the gas giants?
We don't know. We don't know. I think maybe the biggest difference though here is that the cloud tech they've shown off so far has been very static. I don't know if there's any technological limitations that would prevent that cloud tech from animating in the way that you would want it to animate for an actual gas giant type planet.
I think they're working on that, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm hoping they'll get close to that. So those are. Microtech would be fairly simple. But we already have kind of like an icy biome to look at with Yella, so they might want to go something different. I kind of agree that I'm hoping that we get to see Crusader during CitizenCon. That would be awesome.
Yep.
The shipyards, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. Next question from same person. What?
Oh, I was gonna. Okay, I'm sorry.
We'll jump in.
No.
I'll just jump in.
No. Okay,
go ahead.
All right. No,
Citizen Con. We'll go each person. You have 10 minutes to respond. Go.
Perfect. I'm debating. Okay. No.
Scorpion will get 20.
No, I really agree. Like I think that people brought it up in chat before. It has to be something that wows. So Crusader would wow. It's a new tech. It would show off gas tech, cloud giant, whatever. So that's a possibility. I think it's unlikely, but it's a possibility. I think really amazing water tech, like showing off oceans that just are like on a beach, like somewhere on a planet, would just
like Chris comes by in game jet skiing or something,
or it doesn't have to be like that, but yeah, it has to be like, you know what I mean? You're sitting on a beach and like palm trees and there's like freaking like water washing up, like, you know what I mean? I'm not saying they're gonna do that, but that would be something because I know they're working on it, right? We just don't know how far along they are on it. Yeah. And then either that or like a forested a forested moon or planet like Endor that you can like drive hover bikes through or something like that. Or fourth option would be like actual jump point tech, maybe, because they haven't shown that off in a long time, right? And so showing off maybe getting from like one system to another, even though we know that having another system isn't in the game for a while, doesn't mean they might not show it off as like an early tech or something. So I don't know. Those are my 4. I have quite a few things, but those are, I think, one of those 4 maybe.
It's pretty good. Scorpion, you have 20 minutes to comply.
Was this what we think there's going to be, or what we hope there's going to be?
Just our thoughts. Just you know, you can do both. You can say thank and hopes, wish and dream.
I mean, I don't know. It's tough. I mean, I really would hope. I want to see jump point stuff at some point, because that was like really hyped. Like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, whenever it was, and we haven't seen anything since then. So I'd like to see that, just even as kind of a preview of kind of what it's going to be like going to other systems. As far as the planets go, I don't know if they're working on the gas swirly tech. I know they're doing the coil thing, and they have some of that. So maybe they have that. They have to be working on microtech at this point, because that's kind of coming pretty close after that, because they have to have, outside of polish, they have to have our core pretty close, right? I think. And Hurston seems like it has a lot of stuff on it. So I actually think we'll probably end up seeing more of Hurston. I'm not sure if we're going to see other stuff beyond that. I hope we see other stuff, but yeah, it's hard to say. I don't have a really solid beat on it right now.
Okay. I think
in less than 20 minutes.
Yeah. He's going to be like a U.S. Senate hearing here. It's like I yield the floor. I yield the floor and give my remaining time to the next senator.
That's right.
From Missouri, Matachi. All right, I'll take.
Weren't you caught naked in a 7-Eleven pouring squishies all over?
Oh boy, here we go. No, personally, I think all those are great ideas. I hope they reach a little farther and show examples of what jump points might look like. I know we're nowhere near there. I hope they just reach out and go like a year into the future. I want to see stuff wherever the roadmap's at. I want to see beyond what the roadmap has.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
Of course.
So wherever they're at, I want to see like just a glimpse of that to get those brain cells firing and just kind of look in the future, because that's what CitizenCon's all about. Relishing in what we have, excited about what we're just getting right then, and then looking into the future. And with the roadmap, I feel like that future is stretched out a little bit farther, because now it's cool to see the time stuff, but you kind of know what's happening there. So either give me a tangible feel of those items on the roadmap, and then give me a look into the future beyond that. What's next? Yeah. Like,
you know, that
capital ship battles, except like actually working like capital ship battles, like the nitty gritty, not just the fake one.
You know, that's that picture of the Aaron Halo gate that they showed of the, you know, because in the Stanton system, it's the Aaron Halo asteroid belt, right? And then they have this picture. I don't know if you could probably find it by typing into Google, the Aaron Halo gate. And it's this giant structure that seems to separate this like sea of asteroids. I want to see something like that. I mean, I want to see a full-on asteroid belt in, you know.
I want to see a working Orion.
Yeah, that would be cool. So it's way bigger than it used to be. So
yeah, working Orion would be cool. Like, you know, I don't know. I mean, we've seen cat battles. I can say, hey, cat battle, because we've seen a lot of cat battles stuff. But I want to see it like people actually like what it would be like doing it, you know, or like those type of things, or like a player ordering his NPC crew around. Like what's that look like? You know what I mean? Like how's that function and stuff? Those type of things would be crazy. So, how many J. Lees are there? How many? I mean, there's like I think 1/3 of all my subs are J. Lees now. Like they're all variants of J. Lee. I'll go through my sub emails and they're all J. Lees.
J. Lee is a clone.
I know, it's like he's the real clone. That's why Chris hates clones, because there's really only one J. Lee works per week, and he just rotates in different clones there. What was that movie that like had Michael Keaton in it, and he had all the clones of himself he made? multiplicity or something like that.
They all got dumber as it went along.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just got like varying J Lees. They keep going in there, but if at this rate, it's like we'll hit this month's goal, and we'll have to start working on next month's goal to try to get back up to where we were sub-wise, because they're destroying the sub stuff. Oh man, you guys are crazy.
Oh my God, there's another one. This is suboptimal.
Yeah, I know. I'm serious. I'm gonna go over and look at the sub list later, and it's probably gonna be so many J Lees. It's gonna be like, that's so awesome, and then next month to be like, well, there's about 75 J Lees that unsub me this month. So, you know, it's like I lost the J Lee family. They're all gone now. We have to rebuild.
He's like, what is happening?
I know. It's crazy sauce, man.
It's so fun.
So the next question is, should Star Marine stay an arcadey Halo COD game with open radar? Which I don't agree it's necessarily any of that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Or should they go for a more Rainbow Six Siege, CSGO kind of game? Now, CSGO is kind of like a Call of Duty, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, play Call of Duty a lot.
Less CG.
Because I could see where Siege is different. I would set that, you know, as an FPS, I'd see that difference. A little much slower, more methodical. You get killed, you die. But CSGO, I'd kind of would group in with the COD stuff.
CSGO is super clean, fast paced, guy once dead forever kind of a game, which I don't think is any other FPS is like that exactly. But
they have hardcore modes where it's one shot kill, but it's not their primary mode. CSGO, that's its primary mode, is that you just kill the guy and that's it. So I don't know. But anyway, to go on, he's
basically last man standing. Is that what he's asking? Did he want?
Yeah, he's asking
should we have a last man standing kind of king of the hill?
More the flow. Should it be a fast arcadey, or should it slow down and be really tactical?
Well, I think that tactical is more realistic in the sense of PU and balancing, right? Like if you die once, like that's the way people are actually going to play in the PU. So if you want to balance things,
tactical for Star. If it was more tactical and it wasn't just a run and gun and you just can go at max speed all the time, I would like it to be more realistic.
You can't do that with stamina, and you can't even run like that anymore. And they already took out radar, by the way, guys. If you didn't know, they took it out in PTU. There's no more radar.
Good.
You think that, but wait till you play it, and then you find shotgun jumpers all.
No,
over
I know I'll die a lot, but I still think it's good.
I think it's fine either way. The one thing I liked radar for is I could stay away from the guys hiding with shotguns that kill you around every corner. So I think everybody likes the idea. They always like these ideas. It's like voting for 2.0. So as a priority, and then they I was like, oh, that's great.
Honestly, I think that the heavy armor doesn't do any good in Star Marine.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Because I think that the heavy armor should just nullify your shotgun. Good for the guy in light armor, not so good for the guy in heavy armor. Shotgun him, he's gonna be like, whatever, pow. You know?
But you shotgun him in the face, they still die one shot.
Heavy armor, sorry, you shouldn't. Shotgun should make you almost immune to single shot. You should not be able to go bam and kill a guy in heavy armor. I just
headshots you can, body shots you can't right now. We got it tanked up enough with heavy armor. Any shot to the chest won't kill you. Even the sniper rifle, you can't kill a guy except for a headshot if he's wearing heavy. And so I feel like they've got it more balanced right, and they do have the thing where it slows you down. So what my typical fit out is heavy helmet, medium to heavy chest, and then light arms and legs, because you do get an encumbrance level based on if you wear all the heavy, you slow down a lot more, where if I wear light arms and legs and just heavy chest and head, protect my vitals, I can still move okay like a medium set, but I get the protection of a heavy gear. So I like that they make you think about that. It's not so, hey, this is Call of Duty, just grab a gun and go. You got to set up your guy a little bit. You kind of got to move around. And if you run too much, you get winded, and it actually throws your aim off a little bit. So they have all those elements in there.
I'd like to see them bring the cover mechanism in as well.
It is. And they have it. You have leaning now in the PTU, and you can step in cover and you can step out. You'll step out from cover like that, and you can do the lean-tos. Now, here's the one thing I'd like to caution people against really getting excited. Champion. I tried not to look at chat because I just see it ding, ding, ding all the time. Anyway, so the one thing I'd say is everybody's going to like the Rainbow Six Siege stuff when we're in close quarters. Our maps, regardless of them being stretched out right now in Star Marine, are close quarters. There's only a couple areas where you engage at long range. Everything else is right around the corner there. When we get planet side and they keep slowing this thing down, you're going to wish you could run. Because whenever there's like a cyclone with a machine gun on it and you're like out in there, there's like, gosh, I'm sure glad they slowed down Star Marine and I can't run anywhere because you're just going to get mowed by vehicles. They'll end up turning into a battlefield game where if you don't have a tank, it's not going to matter.
Well, I don't think they don't need to slow down the game.
I don't want them to.
I know they don't need to. What I'm saying is they need to have a mode that's not deathmatch, though. You know, even that like is like a one time. What do you mean
by slow down, Itachi?
Well, because the stamina right now you get winded.
Water.
Yeah, right now it's really heavy. But they already are. I mean, that's what you're getting now. Because they
need that. It needs to be whatever the real PU is, right? Like that needs to be.
It's the same.
I know. My point is if they're gonna have stamina, like, you know, deplete fast in the PU, they didn't have that in Star Marine. Yeah. Like that's just the nature.
They do, and that's fair. The challenge you're gonna have though is like I'm just saying the elements they change and the way they impact Star Marine. I think because we don't have a planet-side map in Star Marine, we don't have this large, like open, pretty, you know, like rocks and stuff like that. It's a very
like battlefield maps.
Yeah, we don't have that map. That's the map you're going to play on in the PU. You're not going to play all the time in this close quarter space station all the time. You're going to have a lot of planet-side stuff like what we try to do in the battle. They aren't framing the game for that because I feel like if you are even a medium suit and you have two rocks like we many times seen on Daymar, and I try to run to one, I'm going to run out of breath before I even get there. And if you're trying to go cover to cover inside the planet, you're done.
That just goes back to my point of them needing to like focus on Star Marine and Arena Commander because it helps balancing. Like they'll build these bigger maps.
Well,
they'll have vehicles, and when they do it, and when you see people start playing it, they go, "Hey, heavy armor is pointless because of blah 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 blah." Then CIG might go, "Hey, yeah, you know what? Maybe we do need to tweak that." You know what I mean? So it'll give them that visibility.
And I get what Ball's saying about like the CSGO stuff and all that. And I think that will come, but it'll be like way down the road because they're not going to add too much more to Star Marine beyond what it's relevant for the PU at this point. And that makes sense to me because the PU has to be the focus. To make all the other game modes and stuff will be fun in Star Marine, but it's not worth tasking people to.
No, but there's a lot of game modes they have to make in Star Marine that they don't exist.
But not counter-terrorist and bomb and those things.
No, but the idea is similar. Like
take
not
the
counter-terrorist and bomb, but the same kind of gameplay of you have a team,
hardcore
you move in, you have a goal, and if you die, you're dead because that's the real game.
Yeah, that'd be hardcore mode.
Like for example,
I think that would be good.
Idris, right?
Yeah.
So one team is to prevent the Idris from being taken. The other team is boarding and trying to take the Idris, right? You know, so the people protecting the Idris, they win, or the people who take you've taken the Idris, you know, it's like, and it's just that you know, the last man standing is the, you know, that wins for the team, right? And they don't have a really good, like a really good, like, remember when they showed us, and it made a lot of people really excited, that guy in the firefight grabbing the other guy by his neck, his jersey, or his armor, and pulling him back to safety. We don't have, there's nothing like that. That doesn't exist. And that would make the game like a medic, like actual roles. Right now, everybody has a gun, kill him. Kill everybody.
I really hope when they add medics in, that like you go, because you know, like they're talking about the revive stuff and all that on the ground, like some sort of healing or incapacity. I hope they have that where I could grab, like if Scorpion goes down, I could grab him by the collar if he's laying there incapacitated, if I'm like a medic or somebody, and drag him to cover to heal him. That would be amazing, dude. You don't see that in these games. You know, it's like the medic always has to go to the exposed area, you know, to try to heal a guy. That doesn't happen ever in real life. In real life, they try to get that guy over to some kind of cover and heal him up if they can. They're not going to like, hey, I'll run out in the middle of that field. Good luck. You know, maybe in World War II they did.
You guys remember Team Fortress?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember Team Fortress?
Yeah.
There was way more of a dynamic in each one of those roles in Team Fortress than they have in modern day games. I think that modern day games just start to blur the line to everybody has a gun and everybody kills everybody else. And there's no real delineation between who is the guy who's specifically just a sniper, or the guy who's specifically just the heavy weapons, heavy armor guy, or the guy who is specifically just the medic, or, you know, I mean, or the guy who's the demo guy, the demolitions guy, you know. I want to see there be, you know, say, hey, if you outfit yourself like this, you're a medic, you have all this stuff for pulling, you know, and like Matachi said, the guy goes down. If I get shot and if nobody heals me in a certain amount of time, then I'm done, right? Yeah. If you try to heal somebody out in the middle of the firefight, you're an idiot. So you go grab them, you pull them quickly out of the line of fire,
get some covering fire, pull the guy back into cover, and
I think you can do that in Armor 3.
Yeah, that's what some of the guys in chat were saying. Armor has.
I've done that in Armor 3, and it was very cool.
Yeah. So I want to see that in Star Marine, and I think that would really help to boost, you know, and a planet side battle map.
Yeah,
you know, something that's not in a space.
And Tsunami says open to abuse. People would cry. This guy's pulling me over. I would say it only you could only be pulled if you're incapacitated and only by a friendly. I mean, that's you know, it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, the guys just grabbed me by the collar, dragged me all over the map like a rag doll. It's not that, you know what I mean?
Although that would be kind of fun.
It would be kind of funny to see.
Well, if somebody tries to drag you, you could just get up. If you're not incapacitated, you can move.
Yeah.
So. And you can take out your knife.
Dragging bodies, the Star Marine wouldn't work. Too small maps, too fast pace for it. It depends. It depends on the map. I agree in the current maps that we're in, yeah, maybe not. But when we go planet side, you're not going to have jumping shotgun people. And by the way, please, CIG, I'm going to say it every time I come on the air. Disable shooting while jumping. That's all you got to do. You can't, if they're in the air jumping, they can't shoot a gun. That'll fix the shotgun exploit thing people are trying to do.
Or if they are shooting, it's inaccurate because it's realistic to be able to jump and shoot. It's just good luck.
Yeah, but they just spam it in there. And what they're doing is they'll desync their client. So they're like getting like 350 ping. So it looks like they jump 12 feet in the air and they float down like this going sideways while they're spamming shotgun and they kill everybody.
Yeah, well, that's a weird thing. But I mean, obviously shooting while you're jumping is realistic though. I mean, not something you would normally want to do, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if that's the right solution, but I agree with you. It's definitely like
at least the shotgun. At least not jumping up in the middle of the gravity area. The EVA is fine,
specifically,
but not
specifically gravity. Not against Matachi, like everybody else, but like when
this is the reason I can't find anybody to play a game with me, because like the current you can guys go look at the leaderboards. The current leaderboard of elimination, that guy is a known exploiter who told everybody he exploits.
Weren't you on the leaderboard?
I was
last week. You were number one, I thought.
Yeah, until the guy that me and him very much dislike each other. He went over there and used his exploits on it just beside me anyway. So it's really bad when we like, hey, look at the leaderboard in the newsletter, guys. Oh, by the way, that guy's a cheater. Just ignore that.
Yeah,
it's like it's not too good. Not too good.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I guess I never understood the whole cheating. It means you didn't win.
I swear to God, if they ever put in a practice mode, I would only play that because I love the game for what it is. I don't need a leaderboard. I don't care about that. I didn't even know I was on it until everybody's like, "Oh, you're on the leaderboard." It's because nobody plays the game but me. That's why I was on the leaderboard. It's like when you have no competition because nobody's played except for you and three guys that are learning the game, you look like you're a badass. I don't care about leaderboards. If I could get in a practice session that's unranked, they can leave rankings for everybody else. I would just play that because I don't think the exploiters would come in there as much because there's no leaderboard for them to say, hey, look at me. I just don't think they would. Yeah. All right. 3 more to go. What if reputation was averaged out in a party as a balance system? You have 1,000 rep with a faction. Your friend has 0 with the faction. While in a party with your friend, you have a total of 500. So maybe that is too low to do even higher. I don't know how to say this. That you have a total of 500. So maybe that is too low to even do higher missions.
Oh, I see what he's saying. Okay. So because he has 0, you have 1,000. You're in a party together. You try to do a mission that requires over 600.
Mm-hmm.
But because you have to share the reputation, I don't like that idea though. I mean, yes, maybe a person with no reputation would basically make the faction people maybe not talk to you if you're with them.
I still think just from
maybe they wouldn't say certain things to you because that
from an NPC perspective, if Uber has all the rep and I have none, they're only allowing me to deal with them because Uber's there for that level of mission guy. So I could get a small percentage of rep, but mostly it's all based on him. He shouldn't be able to grind me up easy. It should be somebody that takes a long time.
I think what the question is saying is that should you say, let's say just to get the mission, you need 600. Now I have 1,000 and you have 0, but because there's 2 of us in a group, I couldn't, like if I group up with you to do the mission, all of a sudden I'm not qualified for that mission. It's no longer available because it won't trigger. And if I get it without you in my group, I'm not allowed to share it with you because by joining a group with you, it would lower our collective reputation to 500, not the 600 required.
So I think so that's not bad. I think it would depend a lot on the person who has the high reputation, though, because quite honestly, you can't shake your head, the few.
No, I'm sorry, not for you. I was talking to chat.
So because what it's going to come down to is if I have a high enough reputation with some faction, they're going to trust me. If I'm bringing this guy along, they're going to say, hey man, you're bringing this guy along, that's cool, we trust you. If he screws up, that's on you. So I think it still all does come back to the person who has the highest rep. Even if you do average it out to some degree, it's not going to be a straight average. And if they do something like that, I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I would like to see some sort of if you come into a room where you have a high reputation with this group of, let's just say they're brigands, right? They like you a lot, but they don't know who the heck this guy is. Do you think at all they're going to go, oh yeah, sure, we'll talk all this stuff that's criminal activities in front of this guy we don't know? No, they're going to be like, hey, what are you doing? Even if they like you, they're going to be like, what are you doing bringing this guy that we don't even know in here? Get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not gonna, they're not gonna like that. And if you do a mission that maybe is sensitive to them and they find out about it, they might not like that either. And you might actually lose reputation. Even if you finish the mission, they'll pay you and say, hey, don't talk to us, and you might lose reputation with them. So that might be cool too.
Yeah, I agree. It'll definitely introduce some interesting dynamics into the whole reputation thing.
So
what do you think, the few?
Going to automated lurk mode.
I think that it's a really complicated thing to solve, and I can't think of all the game mechanics that would be involved. I think
give it a shot, though.
Okay. But I mean, like, game design.
You don't have to.
Okay, good. Game design, though, in this case, is really difficult. Like, game designers don't have an easy job when it comes to trying to balance like hacks and cheats and like all kinds of ways for people to get by systems and stuff like that. But I generally agree with everything you guys said.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay.
Next
question from, I totally screw up his name too, Mataxp, Mataxp, says, how hyped are you for building gameplay with the Pioneer, given how much they nailed or not mining? So based on how good they did on that mechanic, how excited are you about that?
I'm a creative person by nature in games. When I play games, I love sandboxy games that I can build and do stuff like that in. I worry that it's going to be too like, hey, here's the 3 buildings you're allowed to build, and they're like the same every time. But I don't think that's going to be the case. So yeah, I think that's a gameplay mechanic I'm very much looking forward to.
Cool.
Yeah.
But only if there's value in the buildings. I don't want to build buildings for building's sake. But like, if you're like, if I build this building and I do it well, it's gonna like be able to like refine mining or do some purpose. You know what I mean?
I love seeing the Fuse how wide his eyes get and his eyebrows shoot up and stuff, because you can totally focus on that with his current camera angle. It's like that's it. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I also think that the Pioneer is going to be a lot of fun. I hope that there is more. I hope it's not like close the door, easy bake oven. Oh, out pops a completely done. I want there to be skill, and I think with what I've seen in Tier 0 mining, that it's going to be more than just it's going to be more than just close the doors, pour in the materials, and wait for the ding, it's done. Okay, now I gotta put it on the surface. So I think that we're going to have a little bit more skill base than that. I do think that you are going to only be able to build things that you buy blueprints for, but that it's going to be like they said about repairs, it's going to be about the materials that you use. It's possibly we're going to be tasked with maybe mixing certain metals to create alloys and maybe make stronger or better systems. I mean, there could be a way that we can improve these things, not by doing the actual internal design or the layout or the blueprint, but in terms of how we put it together, the modules that the power supplies, the coolers, whatever, or the piping that we put in there. So it's going to be how we choose to put it together, all the materials that we put together, that's going to make it more valuable or less valuable. So
all I'm saying is all of the outposts that I'm going to be building with my Pioneer are going to be clean. No chunks flying around everywhere.
No boxes, big bennies everywhere.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Next question says from Shadow Spear, says, so I haven't had time to play or watch any of you guys much lately. I'm sorry. How's the turret gameplay now? I know it was kind of secondary focus. They would continue to mention in passing, but does it really pair up now? We talked a little bit about this earlier. Easy, buddy. Don't hurt yourself. Jeez. Like, I pulled my arm out. No.
I'm done. I can't game anymore.
Yeah, it's all over.
My career.
Career-ending push-up. Watch out. My opinion real quick, just to summarize what I said earlier, turrets have gotten better. They still need some work. I rarely see them 1-to-1. That's my summary. Next. Who wants to say next about turrets? Wait, how you feel?
I think turrets on big ships are... I guess they're okay, but I haven't really had a long enough experience in them, fighting multiple ships. The turrets on smaller ships are...
Cool. Everybody else, you good? Bad?
Okay. All I can say is turbo laser turrets on the Death Star during the trench runs didn't do really all that much when it came to taking out those fighters. So maybe they're working as intended in the game.
There you go.
I'm going to try them out this weekend, so we'll see what I think. Then.
The jury's out with Scorpion. All right, we'll see what's up. And the final question from Neglected Space Hombre.
Final question.
I don't know what. Okay. Doing laundry yourself or going to the laundromat? Question mark.
Laundry yourself. I can speak to this 100%.
Too much or much needed mechanic? I stay awake late for Space Bros. 07. Like, okay.
What?
The laundry question. Do you think they need a laundry mechanic? Do you need to do laundry? Is it too much?
Oh, this is the Star Citizen question.
This is Star Citizen. No, he's not asking me if I'm going to laundromat. He's like, he wants to know if it's a mechanic should
in
be
real life. 100% laundry yourself because
laundromats will kill you.
Yeah.
Kill you.
No to laundry. No to laundry or laundromats of any kind.
No to laundry at all. Yeah. Like they invented
all laundry gets cleaned when you hang it up in the closet.
Just nothing gets dirty.
Yeah. Sonic cleaning. Right
there you go.
Cleaning. The magic
Close
cleaning.
the closet and it's all clean. Take it out. Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Yep.
So.
Crazy magic times, all that stuff and more.
Unless Jeremiah Lee has to concept the laundry.
I mean,
right.
Does he have to concept it?
That's what we need right there.
He concepted like an outlaw pirate chef today, right? So I mean,
yes, that's right. So outlaw pirate laundromat. Yes,
exactly.
That's your next task.
Do they have like a special eye patch washer or something, or?
Yes, exactly.
Well, but just think then, because if we're going to do laundromat,
eye goo that gets on those.
Then we need to have clothing in all kinds of different states of
we have to have
filth
stains and
stains and stuff, and then
just
you can
imagine
couple it with the procedural food.
Yeah,
right? Where when I drop my food, I have to have procedural stains on the clothing.
Yeah,
I think that is the level of fidelity we deserve
Yes.
as Star Citizen backers. There's no question.
God.
100%.
I need like
100%.
Dorito chips dust on
But-
the front of my
Yes.
shirt.
That's why there's bleach in that apartment.
No, you're right.
Because
And
you
that's
can like
why,
clean
yes.
your stuff. Yeah.
You guys.
yeah, Jay Lee's
All
bucking
come
for
full
some more
circle.
work is how that worked out.
He told me,
That's
he's like, I really want to concept laundry machines. That's been my dream since
Right.
the beginning.
And
If I could
dirty
just do that.
clothes.
And
for a
dirty
change,
clothes
instead of
for
all
sure.
the clean ones we're getting. now.
Absolutely. One last task to do, guys. If you didn't know already, last opportunity, exclamation mark Space Bros in chat for a piece of hanger flare to the winner. We're doing one little hanger flare for somebody out there. So get in there, do the thing. Exclamation mark
Can't even
Space
get
Bros right
into
now.
our hangers anymore. Barely.
No more hangers for everybody. Awesome.
We
We'll do
need the
thing and
hangers
stuff.
in the game.
We need
I mean,
it.
for God's sakes, the planet's going to be big enough to have all of our hangers on it, probably.
So much hangers. So much hangers. Exclamation mark laundry mat.
Yeah.
It's great. It's awesome. Oh my gosh. Guys, I'm happy to announce we got to 291 subs tonight.
Holy cow.
So we went, I think we started out like something like 260 or something. So we've gotten over like 30 some subs. We're almost at our monthly goal for that. Maybe we'll start next month's early.
What happens when you hit your monthly goal? Do you have to do something horribly painful?
Nope.
Nope.
Don't try to keep them. That's pretty horribly painful because I've never successfully done it.
So I have to do a little dance at the car wash.
Thank you guys for those subs. Appreciate it, man. We're so close. We'll
The
get there.
car wash, baby.
Absolutely. All right. We're going to go ahead and seal this thing up so we can let these guys go.
Thank you.
Good luck to everybody. 54 viewers of you awesome people. So almost 1/3 of you have entered. And the winner is... It's Mantis official. Mantis. He's currently offline, but it's a subscriber. He wins. He's awesome. I know he follows everybody here. I've seen him in every single one of your chats.
Yep.
Today, actually. As a matter of fact, I did. So congrats to Mantis. He's
I must
Mantis.
have ignored that poor boy.
Yeah, he's been in there.
I don't remember. I mean, but that's okay.
I promise
He probably, well, it was good to see. Yes, it was great to see you, Crazy Ivan, in your
Yep.
crazy turns.
There you go. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. Have a great night. We'll see you later. Say bye to everybody.
Bye-bye.
Peace out, guys.
Bye,
Peace out,
everybody.
everybody. Bye.
Good night.
Oh, my gosh.
Sleep tight.
Big shout out to Champion and all the other people who subbed tonight. Thank you guys so much, making Matachi's little boy dreams come true here on Twitch. And hopefully keep me streaming for years to come. I love your faces. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great evening. Peace out. Who are we going to raid, by the way? Should I raid somebody? I should raid somebody.
Yes, raid somebody.
I need to raid somebody, pass some love on. Let me see.
Jay Mitchell.
Let me see. Don't say their names out loud or I'll feel bad for them raiding. It's like oh, forget that guy. That guy's a big...
It's all about everybody. Like, it's all just people you know, right? It's
I know.
it's always kind
Let me
of
see here.
Yeah.
not rating somebody doesn't mean you don't love them.
I know. I love everybody.
I mean, I was looking at Star Citizen Nick. Really fast and else too, but
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to cop out and give... Yeah, I know what I'm going to do.
all right.
I know what I'm going to do.
Can't tell you.
I can't tell you. It's super secret. I'll just sit here for a while and pretend I know I'm doing it so they can listen to music.
Well, it's been a while since I have partaken in the glory that is the SpaceBro show. Now that my training has gone into, well, I'm done with all my post office training. Well,
I had to keep it going for you guys. You wanted to listen to music, right, Jay Lee? See you guys tomorrow.